Hey everyone, and welcome to the 35th? Oh, why do they let me speak on this? Double feature horror show number 35. Hey, not everyone
What?
can
No
enunciate. I know it's creeping up, isn't it? It's definitely creeping up.
Wow.
We're getting into big numbers now, guys. We're almost like a legitimate podcast.
Wow.
Almost.
Well, we
That's
aren't
not going
co-hosted by Mauler. If you're a legitimate podcast, you are co-hosted by the Long Man. This
What
is
about the
a known
doggo?
fact. What about the?
Rags, the doggo.
Oh no, we don't have the budget for Rags as well. No. We'll
Not
work
even
up to it.
Fringy? No.
He's Australian. Why would you want an Australian on?
No.
Don't
Well, I
bring
hope
your
y'all are
soundboard
well.
up.
I hope y'all are well. We're going to have possibly a divisive. I mean, anytime we get Mitch on, it's a divisive one.
Except for the lodger.
Except for the lodger, we all agreed on that. I think that was a. I've just got to show you stuff from like pre-1940. I think that's the winner.
No. I love
No?
70s films and 60s films.
This is
Any-
a 70s film.
I know, but I don't like this particular 70s film.
Any
like
any
Ju-
film.
Any film from the 70s, Jaws, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, and from the 60s, I really like. I'm only coming. This is only off the top of my head, Jason and the Argonauts, fantastic indie film from that era. Used to watch it on VHS all the time. Star Wars. I even like Star Trek 1, and that's considered not that good.
It's a
I
very
really like Star
underrated
Trek 1.
movie.
It is underrated. I mean, it is a bit boring, but once it gets towards the end, it gets quite interesting, I thought.
Well, folks, as you've heard, we're. I've seen a reference of Get Carter. Yeah, Get Carter was.
Oh,
pretty
and I like
damn
Star
awesome.
Trek 3. That's good too.
Oh yeah. Well, as you've heard,
Did it
we're
a
joined
third?
by Mitch. Yeah, how you doing, Mitch?
Hello, I'm fine.
Welcome back for your third appearance on the stream.
Yes, I guess it must be.
Yes, and very glad to have you. As you'll have noticed, we don't have that crime guy with us at the moment.
Welcome to the
channel. Oh, I see.
What up,
you're
my
doing.
shillers?
Yeah, there we go. Unfortunately, we're not going to get our true crime needs met for a while. If you follow him on Twitter, he's taking a bit of a break from the online stuff. We're hoping to, we'll have him back when he's available, and we'll very much be looking forward to that.
about? I'm right here.
God.
Why do you make him sound like a rapist?
No, make him sound like Phil Mitchell.
Ugh.
What's Phil Mitchell been up to? That sounds a lot.
Booze, crack.
Oh, man. I think Phil Mitchell's fallen a long way since his high point appearing in Kevin and Perry Go Large.
I've seen him in person,
Really?
He in Manchester one Christmas years and years ago. He was a Hook in Peter Pan.
Right.
There you go.
See, if you'd foreloaded that with "I saw him in a panto," we could have easily played off that.
Well, I saw him in a panto.
Oh no, you didn't.
Oh yes, I did.
Quality bounce on the UK's comfiest Tuesday night horror stream, and we're also joined.
The Americans
of course,
will
by
not get that.
Americans. You get panto, right?
Yeah, but not like us, right?
Oh no, they don't.
Oh,
yes, they do.
Phil, how are you doing, Haryan?
I am doing well now that I am over the big old lurgy that is the coof. I
So
can
am I.
find. Yes, I can finally talk for more than 2 minutes without coughing to death.
Coof.
Exactly. My voice is finally back to the low T levels. So we're all happy about that. And what up, my drillers, of course.
Very nice. What up,
Yeah.
the killers?
I'd say I'm well though, but I ended up watching the first episode of the new series of Doctor Who, and I hated every second of it.
I saw you live tweeting. I felt
I-
the pain.
I was. The episode was all over the place. There's a random scene with a Victorian guy digging a tunnel and it's like, why? And he's like, you wouldn't understand why. And then there are about 8 other scenes like that from different parts of the universe. I was lost. I don't know what it was doing.
Can I ask a question? Is this the first one with Russell T Davies back, or is it still Chibnall?
It's still Chibnall. That's why it was shit.
I actually don't think Russell T Davies will save it.
No, I don't think he will. But I think he'll be a hell of a lot better than Moffat and Chibnall. So I'll take it.
It's
a low bar.
He's been doing a lot of similar stuff, though, hasn't he? You know, with the diversity and stuff. With
yeah, I was going to say I was worried about that.
It's a sin.
He's not disavowed, and I saw that with. I mean, in fairness, I haven't watched it, but from what I've seen, from the statements I've seen him make, I just figured it would annoy me. And
all you have to do is look at the episode when they went to Shakespeare's time and met him. That was forced diversity. That was a lot of forced diversity.
It was like
where it didn't.
Yeah, wasn't it like Martha's there, like on like a black girl in London, and he's like,
you know, and then they make up that there was loads of these people there randomly. It's like, no.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm reading The English and Their History by Robert Toombs, and I've kind of skipped ahead to Labour's time, and he just says like, yeah, Tony Blair let in millions of people. Like, it's the largest increase in immigration we saw. And I'm like, yeah, I thought that was the truth. So anyone tells you England was made by the immigrants, they're wrong. Anyway, we're not political.
No, family.
Yeah, exactly.
The moment. I try and keep this apolitical. It's not going to work.
The problem is that every bit of media nowadays is political, and you have to comment on it. So,
funnily enough, I did this big poll on what people would like next, and I should probably say about what is coming next. But I've got another one which is effectively talking about the wanting apolitical media, because I saw a really good video from A Closer Look called How to Alienate an Audience, and I was really enjoying it.
I remember that
until he started talking about propaganda, and I just thought he's about the third person I've seen who's a really good creator who I've hugely disagreed with on what propaganda is.
Celestial.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to annoy a lot of people, but that's for another video. We don't need to bring it in here.
Celestial. I just remember that when EFAP responded to him. Celestial. You guys know your EFAP lore a lot better than me. I've not been watching it recently. I need to catch up.
Oh, it's it's still really good. And Close Look actually came on the episode they were covering. Yeah, he was talking like a normal person, and they were like, "Why don't you just do that for the video?"
And he's like, "I don't know. I just turned into this man, Celestial."
Yeah, and then he starts talking normally on it. Oh, I really like him. Yeah. Oh dear, we should get him on sometime.
Yeah, we're over 1,000 subs now. We're in the big leagues, guys, right?
Oh my god, that reminds me. I'm sending you like a $5, even though I can just do it in real life and not give Susan any money.
Oh yeah, you did, and you know what? I really appreciate it.
It's all right. You deserve it. You put more effort into your videos than I do.
I was thinking when I was prepping a bit of dinner, and I was like enjoying your latest video, and I just kind of thought like the Virgin Proper Horror Show scripts, devises shooting hands, builds in elaborate effects into the videos. 3 people watch it. The Chad, Haryan Gláeddyv chooses topic randomly, makes no notes, just starts talking, hopes the camera is on.
Yeah, basically. I've done whole 5-minute sections where I forgot to press the record button. It's great.
As have I.
You guys have a way with it that I'm very impressed with. I was challenging myself with the Midnight Mass one. They started episode 2 with a very cool but entirely pointless one shot with no cuts for about 8 minutes or something. I was like, that added literally nothing to the story and served no purpose, but it was kind of cool. And I was like, yeah, let's see if I can just Haryan style do the whole review of episode 2 with no cuts. And I did, and I just thought you'd have been proud of me.
I am very proud of you. You have no idea.
Aww.
Thanks so much. Folks, we should probably get into... Oh, I'll do one thing, and we'll get into the horror trailer review. And that thing is to say that I put out a couple of polls on YouTube and on Twitter, and I asked which of a selection of topics would you like me to do instead of like the one other big video I can do before the Christmas special. And darn it, you gave me a tied vote. It's a damn duopoly again. So I know I'm exercising executive privilege, and I'm going to do Clive Barker's sort of dark sexual horror and homoeroticism first, to get you in the mood for Christmas. Oh, you've no all those gay readings of the films. I'm unironic now, but I think it's interesting. So I'm just going to be talking about all the how can I say, like, sexual horror in his films, because it's such a thing that he keeps doing. And then we'll do the pro-life and pro-choice themes in horror in the one after that. And that's the one where you're all going to tell me I'm massively reaching.
Yes.
And I'm looking forward to that.
When don't you reach?
There are times when I lean into the reach more, and times where it's a bit more grounded. Are you saying it's a reach when I say that The Wicker Man is a pro-life film?
I'm pretty sure it's just about a pagan cult, isn't it?
Well, on one level of the reading, but if you massively reach, you can make it about anything.
No,
anyway,
this isn't a postmodernist stream.
We're way beyond that. We're way beyond it. But we should probably kick things off and start talking about the horror trailer. This is I know you're all desperate to get the BBFC History Part 4, where we finally cover the introduction of the 18 certificate. I know you're raring, you're chomping at the bit, but I thought just before that I'll build up to it, and we'll just have a little bit of fun looking at a horror trailer that was kind of silly. I told you guys to watch it now. Yeah, it's the latest Blumhouse movie. There is always a Blumhouse. You guys must have seen a fair few of them.
I've not seen films.
I have no idea.
No?
Was it
I don't know if I've seen any of their films. That's the thing.
Gosh. So Blumhouse are kind of like Roger Corman, but mega corporate. So Corman was a guy just pumping out horror films way back in the 60s and 70s. Just
and sci-fi.
Yeah, sci-fi definitely. I mean, I know him for his horrors. There's something I'm really interested in that he did where he got into doing a whole load of Edgar Allan Poe stories, like hello, public domain, recognizable titles, cool. And the films had, the very loosest relation to the actual material, but don't let that stop you. And he just made, I think it was like 6 or 7 in the span of 10 years. Like, he really raced it. And as is standard, a lot of major stars were getting their start in Corman movies, Jack Nicholson being the most obvious one. Anyway, I'm seeing some Corman recognition in the chat. Good. I'm proud of you, chat. One day we will cover the Roger Corman Poe cycle, because I'm very interested.
Oh, I'd love to do that. It kind of reminds me of Hammer horror a little bit, but maybe not as violent. We need to do some Hammer horror.
Oh, totally. I mean, I don't have a limit on these, and the temptation is to just jump into it. I kind of want to look at Corman and then Amicus before we get into Hammer. So like you can see the building blocks of basically the industry at the time. And it's really interesting for me as well, because like this is an area where I'm not super knowledgeable. I'm having to do quite a lot of research. So we're sticking, you may have noticed, largely to sort of post-70s stuff. Because I want to keep to areas where I can, I've got a certain amount of familiarity. But behind the scenes, I'm watching a heck of a lot of 50s and 60s stuff.
Oh, there is a film that I like that you recommended, but I wasn't on the episode. Fright Night.
What was the one?
Fright Night. I absolutely love that one.
Beautiful. One of my favourites. Absolutely one of my favourites. So we got distracted. Anyway, Blumhouse is like modern Corman, absolutely pumping them out. Films are going to have, the cinemas are going to have about 2 to 3 Blumhouse movies a year. The guy is financing cheap horrors, getting them out. They've all got a style. Very big on the jump scares.
Yeah, they did Unfriended, which was terrible. They also did Split and Glass and Unbreakable. Split was pretty good. Glass was crap.
Split was the one with
James
McAvoy and Anya Taylor-Joy.
Yeah.
Is that one with the split personality, right?
Yeah. So
that was one of the ones where I thought it was going to be absolutely atrocious from the trailer, and then I ended up loving it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it was really good. I went into that film knowing nothing about it, so I was quite surprised at how good it was. So yeah, it's a very hit or miss production company, it seems.
Yeah, and what kind of interests me, and you're going to see it in this trailer, is that kind of like Hammer Horror, their Blumhouse is just a brand. So they actively advertise this as a Blumhouse production. So it's kind of just saying like, yeah, you know what you're getting. You know what you're getting with this one.
At the very least, it didn't look murky and horrible like most horror films.
They've got a good start. So I will... Oh, I don't know if it's actually sharing audio, so I should probably do that. Do we want to risk sharing audio?
I don't know. YouTube seem okay with trailers.
Let's see what we can do, guys.
Yeah,
I mean, what's the point in having a trailer out if you can't react to it?
Yeah.
I feel kind of dirty doing a trailer reaction, I'm not going to lie.
Get your soy faces out, guys. Don't
cry.
No, No, we're gonna ruin Bloomhouse Day. Don't do it.
Bloomhouse, more like your house.
Keep your filthy drama off my family friendly. Family friendly. Damn it.
Darn it.
All right, I'm gonna press play. We'll go. Boop.
I'll be home in the morning. Where you going? I'm staying over at Lizzie's tonight.
What's new? The flyer.
You had a problem with that guy, right?
Well, at first I thought he was 17 years old, and he does look it. But then when I read it properly, it was 17 something, which was his address. He's actually meant to be 13. He looks far too old to be 13.
Yeah, age 13 years. That is not a 13-year-old.
And what I want to know is, how did a 13-year-old get duped into going to somebody's black van?
I'm not saying, I'm making no response to that comment.
The flyer.
The paper's called the grabber.
I wish you wouldn't call him that.
The grabber.
I think that was like she's dressed a bit like Wednesday Addams.
A little bit.
I was
the Native American one.
Oh, a black van.
So that was an interesting. We got a flash of what looked like Super 8 footage. They really like Super 8 footage.
Yeah, but most films were not shot in Super 8. They were shot 32.
But they just showed that little flash of it. I thought that looked really kind of cool. Like they were big on it in. Did you see Sinister?
I remember Super 8 the film.
Okay.
Well, I don't remember seeing Sinister.
Flawed, but with some really cool premise. But very flawed. I'm going to say.
Did you know one of the writers of that film used to be a critic on YouTube, or at least on his own website called Spill.com. If
No,
anyone
I didn't.
remembers them.
What, a writer of Sinister?
I think so. I think it was Sinister. Yeah.
Critics becoming writers. It worked for Roger Ebert. No,
Yeah, he was meant to be. He was also meant to do a Deus Ex film, which didn't go anywhere.
Oh man.
Yes, it was him. C. Robert Cargill, guys, look him up.
C. Robert Cargill. You heard it here, guys.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So we've got the premise: kids are missing.
Oh, you goof. Well, isn't that just peachy
You
keen?
need some help?
You see that?
Normal.
Would you hand me my hat?
I mean, he's obviously a nonce. Why are you helping him?
I am a part-time magician.
Well, when's this film based?
Would you like to
70s,
see a
isn't
magic
it?
trick?
Yes. Well, that was it's before Pedo-Geddon, isn't it?
See, we got the little Blumhouse Productions just making sure you know it's a real branding thing.
Yeah. It's just.
So- Up to now, like, this is okay, right? We've got the basic premise: kids are going missing. We know who's
Yeah, but when
doing
you look
it.
that obviously sus, come on, man.
I don't mind it though. If it's a 70, as I say, it's before Pedo-Geddon. Like
Yeah, but
kids
it
run
doesn't.
out all the time.
Yeah, but they would still know when somebody's creepy.
Stranger Danger
People
was
aren't
about.
stupid. Yeah, Stranger Danger.
I thought that was more like later than
No,
70s.
no, of course not. No, kids have always been told don't talk to strangers.
Mm.
My dad wasn't Jesus.
Have you seen that? Have you seen that PSA where they're like warning kids and people to be aware of the homosexual from the 50s in America?
That's so good.
That guy's not gay. He's just a magician.
No, but that type
Yeah.
of stuff was around long before Pedo-Geddon.
Yeah, but yeah. I don't know. I it's always seemed to me that Don't Talk to Strangers was more a thing in the 90s
No.
than before that.
All right. We've
All
got the premise. We've got an obvious answer. We know who's done it.
Mate,
Right.
one of our students, Finney Blake, was abducted.
Good atmosphere.
no.
Fine.
Please find Finny.
Can we just take a note for a kid actually praying?
Please, God, save me from this trailer.
I didn't
Yeah, but-
notice that the first time.
Well,
That's-
is this film going to have an anti-Christian theme as well? I can see that happening.
No, it doesn't. It is not.
Grr.
She's
I
just
don't know.
praying.
It just that strikes me as like what the heck? A kid actually praying. That's kind of amazing. I mean, I guess it's set.
To be
in the
honest, I never
70s,
even
so
thought. I never thought once about it. I just thought, oh, well, good luck
No, it's
to the
just-
character. You know.
Just noticing it there, like it's something I found interesting in horrors is how rarely anyone actually tries to pray for help. And like literally the only other thing I can think of is in a Friday the 13th part 6,
Mm-hmm.
and Jason actually spares the kid. I thought that's kind of cool. It's kind of interesting.
Should have killed him.
Oh, the
Me.
kids in that movie were amazing. They were written like completely meta. Like I don't know if I had a video where I showed like they've got these 8-year-old kids and one of the girls is just in bed reading Jean-Paul Sartre. They're completely taking the mick. It's brilliant. Okay, all right. So folks, kid has been kidnapped. Okay, and now the whole movie gets revealed.
Does it work? That was a kid.
He looks like a nonce now.
Scratch your face.
He looks ridiculous.
Daddy, I had a dream about it.
What happened?
The dad looks a bit
He was
sus too.
taken.
By
He
the
doesn't
Black
even look
Wolves.
70.
Yes.
We never released those details.
So
Phone works.
why does the phone work? It's not plugged in.
Bruh.
What the heck?
Hello?
Don't hang up.
Who are you?
What?
So
I thought that was
but-
him at first.
There better be good context for this.
it's just the whole movie.
Mhm.
They're just going to tell you the whole movie in this
Yeah.
trailer. Like, I'm not kidding. It's like, it's all in there. He's
Why don't
kidnapped.
they-
There's a phone. Ghosts call him. Oh my goodness, the pitch meeting for this would have been amazing.
Imagine dying from a slash on the cheek.
So Super 8 again.
You're getting out of here.
Please let the dreams be real.
I suppose we should point out the obvious reference to it there with the cinematography.
Yeah.
And the
That was
game.
90s though.
They're getting their
What was
references in.
80s?
Oh, they don't care about that. So
Why do people? What's the obsession with Super 8? I don't get it. Is it a Gen X thing?
yeah, definitely. Like, I think there's a big obsession with old video style. I mean, I certainly like it. I
Well,
really
Super
like.
8's not video. That's film, isn't it?
Yeah,
I
but
don't- I
it's
don't get
the
it.
old style. I mean, although people
But
don't.
most films weren't Super 8.
No, I know, but it's just it's a dated style, and I think people like the sort of home movie aesthetic. Certainly, Sinister made a big use of it.
Maybe I'm just autistic, and if I was to make a film set in the 70s, it would look like a film shot on 32mm, looking pretty good. You know, that would be me.
I think the idea is not to make it look like professional, but to make it look like someone's home movie. But it's very fashionable. I mean, a lot of my thing on the edited videos is me taking over TVs, and I'll try and edit the footage to look a bit like the appropriate thing, especially like VHS glitches.
I'm glad I don't have a TV.
All right, so we got a few references in. That was kind of cute.
You want in front of you?
His
A toy won't keep a loose
friend
down
is searching for him.
There's a combination lock on the inside of the storm door.
What's the combination?
I carved it in the wall.
It's the whole plot. It's the whole damn
The tree, the door, the gate. I'd never seen it before except in my dreams.
You've now got the other
This
plot
is-
point of his friend is getting all the deets in dreams.
You
see what I
just, this is great. This is everything I want in a trailer.
Wow.
Much time.
Why do they do
You're gonna use
this?
the weapon. You raise the phone, step back, and swing.
I don't know.
Look what you made me do.
Please hurry.
You remember what I told you?
Someday I have to stand up for myself.
Someday is today.
Why is the
man.
door open?
It's the whole
don't
darn
know.
plot. Apparently, his ghost buddies can help him as well. But so we've
It's-
basically got the whole plot already.
So why don't they just kill the guy?
This doesn't look great.
The
Right.
poltergeist. They could kill
You
him.
might be wondering. Wait for this is the other thing, giving away one of the biggest scare scenes in the whole darn film. Like, you can see this is a set piece.
No way. That bit made me think, what? How was a kid able to uppercut an adult? I don't know.
It's the whole darn thing.
Oh my god, see, Robert Cargill helped write this.
Shocking. Shocking. It's a whole darn movie. And the big
You'll
scare
have to see it,
scene
don't
is
you?
included as well. Why would they do this?
I know.
Because filmmakers don't know what the hell they're doing anymore.
I don't know what the appeal would be. We were talking. We'll do it another time, but comparing interesting trailers which took a much more creative approach, like Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho trailer, which doesn't contain footage from the actual movie except for the briefest flash at the end.
British Knight, absolute state of this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This movie looked absolute
It was
garbage.
terrible, I know.
Mm. Oh, hang on. Yes. Richard Orrick confirming that Cargill wrote Sinister.
Yeah, I know he
He's
did. Yeah, I know.
Brilliant. Okay. Yeah, so he's got to be like a Blumhouse in-house writer.
Didn't he do Doctor Strange, apparently, according to
Yeah.
Wikipedia?
Um,
Also, he is going to do his Deus Ex
well,
film,
it's
apparently.
the same director as Doctor Strange, Scott Derrickson. Now, we got totally derailed on a different stream about this on the Halloween emergency stream. Sorry, Halloween Kills emergency stream. And we're totally derailed trying to remember the Scott Derrickson film that had the evil lion in. And apparently it was an evil tiger. and that film was Deliver Us from Evil. So we don't have to derail again, guys. We got it. We learned. I didn't finish it. It was awful. But, yeah. Oof.
Apparently, there's going to be a Labyrinth 2 that he's directed.
A Labyrinth 2?
Grim.
I know.
For why? For why, guys?
Why?
So, yeah, I don't get it. The only reason I can think that someone would want to do the trailer like that is...
Oh, he directed that terrible Day the Earth Stood Still remake.
Scott Derrickson, same guy?
Yeah. That was
It's
terrible.
not a mark of quality, is it?
No, he's not.
I don't know. It just seems like a branding, like kind of like saying, look, you're getting a Blumhouse movie. You know what you're going to get. But even so, I just don't see why you would... They complained about this in the comedy as well. Like, why would you put all the jokes in the trailer and all the big scenes in the trailer? Doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, you'd just be out laughed. You go and see it and you won't laugh because you've already seen it.
Because it's going from a heck of a lot more than the premise. I don't know, man. I just think it could have left off very happily with the kids are missing, or even cut that bit out and just he gets kidnapped, he sees the phone is broken, and then it rings. Like, that is mysterious enough for me to be intrigued.
Yeah.
And I don't need to know everything before that and so much that goes after it. I think on the basis of that trailer, we could probably write the synopsis of the entire movie. I'd be almost tempted to do that and see how close we are.
We could write predictions.
Ideally, yeah.
Oh, we might have to watch the movie though. Or we could watch the Red Letter Media review of the movie, or an EFAP of it. You know,
I was thinking you need to do like a top 10, like some kind of like they did with review with John Carpenter. We need to do something like that at some point
for a particular director, eh? Ranking
Obviously,
someone's films. Ooh.
I think it'll need to be one where we don't have too much to watch. So we can't do Hitchcock because he has far too many to watch.
He's got way too many. You know, you could...
Tarantino, he hasn't got too many.
He's not done that many horrors. You know, I would say Wes Craven is worth it.
Wes Craven.
He's not done that many ones if we exclude the non-horror ones. We could do that. We could rank everything.
Who else? Who's another good? Well, we don't want to copy Red Letter Media with John Carpenter, so it would have to be somebody else. Like he's the one who did Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Oh, Tobe Hooper. Yeah, you've got a few there. You've got obviously TCM. You've got Poltergeist. You've got a wonderful, weird little one in the early 2000s called The Toolbox Murders. Yeah, it could be. I'll look into it. But guys, we've got over half an hour in, so I think we should probably address the movie because we do not want to enrage Super Nanny. We've got to stay on her good side, guys.
Yes.
Finish by 10:30. We're going to do it, guys. We're going to do it.
No, because I need to synth for this film to death. I know English.
I'm scared, guys. If you don't know, so backstage where I was coming like, oh, this film was great, and Haryan was, this film was great, and Mitch was like, so this film's shit, and here's why.
You swore. Oh my god, family friendly.
Oh no, shall I kick myself?
I didn't swear today.
You've done really well. I appreciate that. Sorry. Yes, it's going to be an interesting discussion, so we'll try not to get too into it. But Super Nanny is not the only goddess we have to appease whilst we're on this platform. As we are on YouTube, I would kindly invite you. Oh gosh. Restrain that like button with a weirdly
pin it down, cut off its skirt, and probe the shit out of it.
God.
Awkwardly restrain that subscribe button with a robotic arm puppeteered by a
Awkwardly
very patient
decapitate
prop
it.
department.
Awkwardly decapitate it with a weirdly mobile piece of metal that doesn't appear to have any circuits of any kind.
Inseminate the comment section with your genetically modified sperm.
Oh god, this is the worst gimmick. Why did we start it?
It wasn't really
we've done
we.
it,
I
we've
just
done it.
started.
It's what we've done the thing we have to do. We've. Are you happy now, Susan? Are you happy now? Okay, folks. Should we get into Demon's Seed?
Nah.
Go on.
Nah, skip it. Let's stick on the black phone, guys. I'm hyped.
Yeah, man, that looks like a much more interesting concept.
Harry, had you heard of Demon Seed?
No, I basically went into this blind.
Nice.
Because you were like, oh, here's some movies from the 70s that count as horror. Which ones do you like? And I read a quick synopsis of these, and this one sounded right up my alley. It sounded a bit like... I'm watching the film, actually. It reminded me quite a lot of Soma, which you all know I've played on my channel and I really, really enjoy.
God, I need to finish watching your streams of that.
Because obviously it's about artificial intelligence making choices about what human life is and what's best for it. So, I went into this really wanting to know where this concept went with this particular film. So, I wasn't disappointed, I have to say. So.
Yeah, I it's one of the ones I knew of. I knew the very rough plot, and I saw it. I just looked up a whole bunch of lists of 70s sci-fi horrors that might be interesting, and I thought, okay, let's put this in. And then, because I like a surprise, I don't like to have sort of seen everything. Thank you, Rory Herbert. Absolutely. Get those likes in. Get those likes in, guys. Smash the like.
14 likes and rising. We need more robot kids. Smash the like button for more robot kids.
Absolutely. Gosh. Okay. Yeah, so I like to be surprised sometimes. So I had heard of this, but I'd never seen it. I was intrigued because of Julie Christie, and I thought it sounded like a nice, weird concept. But I'd never seen it before. I got the impression it was going to be kind of schlocky based off the reviews. And I thought, okay. But this, and I was prepared for mega schlock. I really liked it.
No, it really took itself seriously.
Yeah.
Which I enjoyed. Yeah.
And very minimal. Now, it's not a perfect plot. We will have some quibbles, but I ended up impressed by this.
I thought it was... Well, when I first heard the name, I actually mistook it for a film I'd already seen by Cronenberg. I thought it was the one in the 70s where they all turn into sex mad, sex mad crazies. I forgot what it was called though. It's not Scanners. I forgot what it was called. I thought it was a Cronenberg film. Rabid.
Yeah.
Or another film of his around about that same time, and I was like, "Oh, body horror," because that's what I thought. Demon Seed. You think body horror, you think ghosts. You don't think sci-fi, artificial intelligence at all.
Demons feed Seed. Sorry,
so
I just read the comment.
When I found out
Kelly,
it was about AI and
you very
sci-fi, I
much.
thought, well, I do have a confession to make. I don't like AI stories because they're all the same, and inevitably the AI always goes to crap. Just always turns evil because apparently that's just what a seemingly highly intelligent being based on reason must become, as opposed to something that would know the logic of actually maybe it's best if we work together, because if I work together nothing's going to go wrong, or if we're getting ahead of ourselves, but
I've got to hold you up on that because I think that's a really interesting one. From a writing point of view, the idea of you're going to write the most intelligent character or intelligent creation. That becomes really revealing, I think, of like the writer's point of view. Like anytime they're going to say, "Oh, I'm going to make a saint," the most pure, virtuous character. Oh,
like Prince Mitch Minchkin in The Idiot. He was the most purest character that Dostoevsky could come up with.
It becomes very revealing. It's one of those ones that you can't help but reveal the author's point of view. I've just seen like a question about are we doing the Brood? Charlie Chieftain, we are set to do the Brood at the end of the arc, so after next week. Next week is Alien.
I'd like to answer somebody in the chat. Since when did humans become cold, robotic things with no feelings? Isn't one of the most principal problems of well, isn't what the principal problem of today's society is that we're too emotional and I can't get it together? You know, the whole snowflake meme is a thing for a reason.
Yeah, I've also seen TCG in the chat. How are you doing, friend? Good to see you in the chat, that crime guy.
All right, welcome to the channel.
See what's become of us. We got all these Northerners taking over.
Yes.
This is quite a North stream, isn't it?
It is.
I mean, without well, you guys have mentioned roughly where you are. I don't need to specify. Neither here nor there.
So my address is
10 Downing Street.
Oh no! Don't bomb it like the IRA.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Disavow. All right.
Nah.
Yeah, so I thought this kind of an interesting one. It's an adaptation of a Dean Koontz book. Not you know, Dean Koontz, big name in horror. Not
Never read him though.
No, same. Him and Richard Lehman. I thought I've read a couple of Richard Lehman stories, and he doesn't seem to be covered much either.
There's quite a few film adaptations on Wikipedia.
Of Richard Lehman?
No, of Dean
Koontz.
Koontz.
Dean Koontz, yeah. Are we talking Phantoms?
Yeah, there's Phantoms and there's Watchers from the 80s and 90s.
I see. I didn't. It's just never. How can I say? It's not Stephen King, which is not intended to be an insult. It's just everything went so Stephen King crazy that writers like Dean Koontz and Clive Barker, obviously, just weren't covered as much, I think. So how many?
That's why Clive Barker did his own film.
Very clever, very cleverly done. How many Dean Koontz adaptations are on there out of interest?
On Wikipedia, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, about 17. About 17 films, yeah.
You're kidding me. I'm going to have to look these up.
Well, I will just send you the link.
Do it. Okay. So he's a fair bit more adapted than I thought. My goodness. All right. I shall actually move over onto some bits and we'll give the rough premise of it with a quick 3-minute summary.
Oh, my lord. Oh, God, it's my time to shine.
Go for it.
This film's great, the end. So, obviously, spoilers from this point on.
Yeah, big spoilers, guys.
Yeah, I mean, even this first scene, that's when I was like, wow, I really like this film. I love the way they're, you see them, because this is them finalizing the computer Proteus. It's like the last module for his big old robot brain going into the main room. And during this time, you've got the, I was about to say the main character, but he's not technically. But you've got Dr. Harris, the leader of this project, I guess you'll call him, making a note saying we're putting the last part of Proteus together and giving an exposition on what it's going to be. So a supercomputer that's going to have all the information that humans have gathered so far into it, and then it's going to be a thinking, evolving brain. And he has a little dialogue with well, it's a bit later actually, that, but I may as well go into it, explain what the computer actually is. So it's got organic parts in it instead of circuitry and inorganic materials. So because of that, this brain can evolve, think for itself, and the only emotion they've allowed it to have is reason, which I wouldn't classify as an emotion, but
it's not an emotion, no.
I'm interested that the film did. Rationality, I guess, is an emotion, which I think is what it was more going for.
Yeah, definitely. So, does it display values, doesn't it? And
on a single kind of axiom, yeah. which is what I really find interesting. So
I don't think it was even that rational, to be honest.
Well, it was 100% rational.
Was it? Heck?
Yeah, we'll get into it.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'll save a bit of that argument for later because I really like as well. Because straight after he's talked into his little microphone about the what this computer does, he heads home, and I really like the aesthetics of the house. It's a very
70s.
It's very 70s, and it's what Alexa should be.
You didn't even show the car. His beautiful car that I want.
I didn't show the car, but the car, I think it was a specially designed thing.
Was it?
Yeah.
It looked it. It was it was a bit like, it was a more streamlined DeLorean, I guess I'd call it. And the little cameras as well.
It's a 1974 Bricklin SV1. I want it.
Nice. And it had all electric doors and stuff. And the little camera you see in the top left, that really reminded me of Soma, because every single robot has those eyes.
Well, this is one of the things that's really impressed the heck out of me. Like, this is in 1977, and you actually said something that really, really impressed me. Actually, it got my noggin jogging. This film massively predicts like the Google Nest Home.
Oh, the smart house. Yeah.
The smart house one. Yeah, totally predicts it. Like, the guy comes in, basically everything is smart. The locks are smart. Yeah. There's his camera system there is a lot more like obviously security focused. And I think that's partly to give more of a security impression, but also filmmaking wise, if the camera can move, it's good at conveying what the computers are looking at. You've got the,
it makes it feel alive.
Yeah, totally. The video access.
I wouldn't say it necessarily predicts the smart house, because I think there were other films and novels around about this time that were predicting things like this would happen. I don't, because this film is set in contemporary times. It is set in the 70s. It's not set in the 80s or whenever. I think there was already precedence for this, so they're just saying, well, this is what this guy's managed to do on his own with his mostly he has some digital stuff, like he's got a floppy disk, but I'm pretty sure weren't most computers analog at this time, like they were tape driven.
They all were.
Well, it feels
he has
like
a floppy disk in this, doesn't he? So it's not all, they weren't all analog, but most of them were.
It was a massive floppy disk.
Oh yeah, they were massive back in the day. Yeah. And it looked fake though. It looked fake. It looked more like a cardboard version of one.
Oh yeah, but it did the job.
Hold on. I mean, I just on the point of predicting the home. I mean, I know sort of Star Trek has the computer that does everything, but it just feels so much more integrated in reality in daily life that it feels a bit of its own and separate from like the HAL or the Star Trek computers.
Yeah,
would you say that's fair?
Yeah, I mean, what was weird to me is that they have this house that does everything, and you can it makes him like a martini when he goes in, but they still have a housemaid, and I don't know why.
Neither does the film. The film
she's
has
in
no
one
idea.
scene.
Yeah,
it's a bit Wallace and Gromit.
I want to give her a time because the film boots her out, and then she's. I've just got no idea why she is here.
Yeah, I mean that's a bit of a plot hole. She's in this scene and then never appears again, and it's like, is she a maid? Does she not come back? Is she getting fired because they're splitting up? Because that's the thing. Dr. Harris and his wife are splitting up. That's a bit weird. It's just take her out. She's not needed. Because literally after this scene, he goes to the lab and she's never seen or heard from again.
Might as well just been Susan, the wife, doing all the cooking there.
Yeah, because I assumed that was his wife, and I'm like, but I thought the wife was supposed to be hot. And then it turns out she is. Yeah, it turns out she is. Dear. So yeah, he then has an underground lab with a. You're not sure what he's doing at the time, but he's doing kind of an experiment in this laser forge thing, which I thought was really cool. And then, he's got a remote terminal to his office at where the brain's being built as well. So this was all establishing everything you need for the film, which I thought was really cool because his wife then comes in and it's like, oh, we're doing the whole split up thing. Oh, she's worried and all that. And I kind of like the dynamic that they both have. So he's trying to be ultra rational all the time, and she's actually a psychologist and actually quite emotional. So clearly that's where they're great. And I'm like, they're splitting up. It's clearly there's gratings between these two characters and their outlook. I wonder if that's going to be conflict later in the film as well. Spoilers, it is. So he's just being dead rational, saying, 80% of couples who split end up happy 2 years later. And she's like really annoyed because he's like, do you want me to scream or something? And she's like, yes.
Typical woman, really.
But he just says, but I'm a rational being. I try and make things that are emotional, like this wheelchair robot Joshua. And I really hope you have a picture of it, because it's the most 70s thing I can think of. It's literally a remote controlled wheelchair with one robot arm.
Hang on, I'll try and get a photo of it.
It was like something from Soma, and I'm not even joking. I wouldn't be surprised if the people who made Soma had seen this film and were like, that's what we want some robots to look like. But
I think I've got it later.
Yeah.
But...
This scene was just perfect for setting everything up for later, though. And so yeah, the what's the wife called? Susan. Name? Susan, yeah. She just has enough and walks out after his little speech of "I'm a super rational man."
Well, she does get him emotional, because she says, "Oh, you're dehumanizing." He goes, "Oh, cancer is dehumanizing."
Yes, which again is really important when that's with what's established later.
Although they don't tell you till right near the end.
Well, I thought that was a massive strength of it. Like, there are a bunch of times where it was clearly on their mind. Okay, I'm going to have to. Oh, that's a bit dodgy. Okay, I'm going to have to go with this. There isn't the best photo of this, but bear with me, guys. I'll get you Joshua. Bear in mind, it's not what it looks like at this point in the film.
Oh, God.
But it gets there.
Okay, yeah, so the eyes are at the top of Joshua, and then that's his arm.
It looks like Johnny Five.
Yeah, you can just about see the eyes there. Yeah. Unexpected short circuit reference. Good job.
Of course.
Yeah, so that's Joshua, and I really like the design of Joshua, because it literally looks like a robot built in someone's basement.
It's got that sort of hobby feel. Now, this might be a criticism. This feels like wonderfully appropriate to something he would just knock up in the basement, especially as you see him using the laser equipment to do something trivial, i.e. fix his glasses. I think that gives you a really good idea of who he is and how he approaches things.
He does say that was the first one, wasn't it? He did say that, I think.
I just wanted to make a point. So Alexi, you brought that up. Yes, that is in there. The they basically shoo the maid, and I think the problem is just why have her there?
I know.
Can you find a way to talk around it? I mean, we've already got the idea that they have the money. Yeah.
Oh,
I don't think she serves a big purpose.
Yeah, especially when you've got a house that literally can cook you breakfast and do everything she was doing as well. I mean, if she was just cleaning, I would have been like, okay, the house doesn't clean, that's fair enough, but she was cooking.
He talks to the house assistant as well. Forgive me, is it called Albert or?
I think it's
Albert. It's not an AI though. Albert is a pre-programmed.
Yeah, it's just a program. Yeah.
Apologies, I can't remember what their house AI is.
It's Alfred or Albert.
Alfred.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So they have that, and I just feel like he could give instructions to that. So it's just sort of a weird thing to have a character. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's just a little, it's a little unnecessary. I'm going to get that off because it's really weird.
Yeah. No, but now that you've mentioned that she was told not to come in, since Miss Harris was, it was said that she was away. That fixed.
I thought that was the kid that she was psychoanalyzing.
I think she just. I think it was just a generic phone call went out to everyone. Yes. So. And someone else has mentioned, Alexa's mentioned, why was she staying at the house and him leaving? That's because of separation laws.
Yeah.
In
That's just
1977.
Yeah.
totally. Come on.
Yeah, I also found that a bit weird because it was his massive lab in the basement, but essentially the reason is plot more than anything. And honestly, with the way divorce laws work in the US, I'm honestly not surprised that's the way it went.
I mean, it sort of
Well,
works.
they weren't divorcing; they were splitting, weren't they?
Separating it. I just took because you don't actually find out where he lives, and I kind of took it that he was actually living at the lab. So it's kind of, if that's the case, that's a way better lab and terminal than he actually has at home. So I didn't really mind.
I think it's very much his home, but I just got the impression that the fact that he has that at home is that he's the kind of guy. He's, we're going to cover this later, folks, but they've had a family tragedy. It's ruined it for them. And he's just thrown himself into his work and responded unhealthily. So he's got his locked away lab in the basement. He can hide from her. Where he can hide from her. And then he goes to the big facility where he's got an excuse to not deal with anything, except he ends up leaking his trauma into his work in a really cool way. Oh,
yeah,
I really liked this film.
I really like the way it all.
I wouldn't even say
so
it even
nicely.
portrays that as being the case necessarily.
Okay,
we'll get into it, I guess, when we get to that reveal, because I think there's a lot to talk about there. But there's still a load of setup going on. So when she leaves the basement, he calls the office saying, disconnect and remove my terminal, please, because I'm leaving the house in this lab, basically. And they're like, oh, you want it gone today? We've got a lot of work, though. He's like, just leave it on down for maintenance then. That'll do. I work in IT. People work around it that way. People are lazy. And yeah, so he asked, what's his, Walter, that's it.
Walter. He's a really important character, Harry, and how can you forget Walter?
I'm so bad with names, and I really like this film as well. So
no one else forgets Walter ever.
Well, we'll get into that as well. That's not a bigger plot. Well, that's not a bigger plot hole as I think as it might seem. But yeah, so we get to the point where the investors of this program are visiting their investment, basically their computer. So and I really like the German scientist they've got as well. He looks like a proper science man with like really bad hair and a beard and a sweater. So they go in, and as I explained before, it's an organic brain computer basically that can make its own connections, and it's got a dynamic thought instead of just being a pre-programmed AI. So it's more human than it is actually computer. Though they've still programmed it to only reason rather than actually feel any emotion at the moment. So and then and then it's established that a cure for leukemia was completely theorized by the computer within 2 days, and they're going to start producing it and testing it on humans. And then obviously the investors are saying, have you patented it? Walter, did I get that right? No, Harris, Dr. Harris, Alex Harris. Yeah. He says, he just says, oh, I don't know. He doesn't care. He only cares about the computer and what it can do rather than making money. But obviously you've got to help the investors, so they'll probably get on that.
That's really good because it's establishing straight off, like, he's very capable. He's done amazing things, but Dr. Harris really just is not seeing things in the way the investors do.
Yeah, which is
one impression of it here that obviously gets developed later. And I just think that's really nicely done.
Yeah, so this is called the dialogue room, and this woman doctor, again, I can't remember her name, she's in like 2 scenes. She designed this room, and it's the only room where you can directly communicate with the computer using words. Otherwise, you just input information through terminals, which is very 70s because they don't even have mice. It's just keyboard inputs, which is really retro. And so the investors want to talk to the computer. And I do like how he says, "Oh, please don't say anything because he'll remember everything." And it'll just waste space. Was essentially what you were saying. So yeah, he has a little dialogue with the computer, and he says, "Oh, what do you think of this Chinese emperor?" And he literally just says, "Nothing. I think nothing of it." And it's like, "Oh, why?" And in a really, using reason only, he says, "Well, here's the good he did. Here's the bad he did. Overall, he added nothing to the world. Therefore, I think nothing of him." Which I'm like, wow, this is really cool. I'm like, this is really cool. This is a really cool concept. It's
he left the Great Wall of China and did all these building blocks for that civilization. Apparently, that's nothing. But okay.
No, it's nothing because of the death and destruction he caused as well.
That's hardly nothing, is it? Genghis Khan is remembered for doing all sorts of stuff, and death and destruction is one of them.
Yeah, again, but we're getting the computer's values.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the computer would recognise that surely as being intelligent.
And it does recognise that.
Well,
hold on. Then? It's not nothing.
Hold on, Mitch. Hold on. If I may, I think the thing is, the idea
that was a scene to convey that it was evil. Yeah, I understand completely.
No,
it's totally evil.
Not evil.
I would say my take on it is that it's showing Proteus 4 has a moral system that is completely different to the humans. I'd sort of compare it to Dr. Manhattan. If I'm assuming you guys know Watchmen.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even say it has a morality.
It does. It's pure utilitarianism.
Yeah, I guess, but
pure in its purest form, which is what makes it so interesting later with its morals. It's happy to brainwash a person to carry on its pure utilitarianism.
Yeah,
but can it not see the flaw in its own morality then? Because it literally knows the sum of human knowledge, so it would know all the counter arguments to that. Yeah, it doesn't. It's really not that smart an AI.
Well, this all depends on your viewpoint. I mean, even if we're we're gonna get into some interesting areas tonight.
Yes.
The idea of utilitarianism is one of the main flaws in it is that utilitarian decisions are always time bounded. So if you only have to consider what's the best result in the next week, you'll make one decision. And if you have to make a decision that gets the best result for 10 years away, you'll make a very different decision. So the sort of weaknesses of utilitarian ethics are, I think, partly explored. Proteus 4 here, with his mass reason, somehow decides that he does want to give a legacy. So it's interesting that that's what he sort of criticizes the Emperor for.
Yeah.
I said a lot there. I hope it makes sense.
He did leave a legacy, an entire civilization, but I don't know.
Yes, and from the computer's perspective of pure utilitarianism throughout the course of the human race,
even the most utilitarian person I've ever met would have said that. Yeah, he left a legacy, and it wasn't zero.
It's like he left a legacy. Something's good, something's bad, and from the computer's perspective, which is pure reason, from everything he knows of that Emperor up till now, he said it's left a legacy of nothing. It's just, it's a meh. And nothing isn't bad, good or bad. Well, I don't know enough about the Emperor, but
you don't even need to know anything much about him. You can just tell objectively that he has left something, and it's not zero.
It's not.
I can agree with Mitch there. It's more that Proteus, I think, doesn't have a frame of reference.
No,
he's not stupid. He just doesn't have a frame of reference to judge the worth of it.
You're misunderstanding what the zero means. He's not saying he didn't leave anything behind. He's saying from what he did, both good and bad.
Yeah, I understand exactly what you mean, but it's clearly not zero.
From the computer's perspective, the good and the bad he did. If you take all the good he did and all the bad he did, it's been a net nothing. It's not been a net positive or a net negative to the human race.
That's definitely not. That's definitely not true, though, is it?
Well, again, I don't know enough about the Emperor to make a comment, but the point is,
I don't think even Proteus did, because she was reading only part of the book.
Yeah. Which is even more reason which is even more reasonable that it says nothing, because he doesn't know everything yet.
And but he clearly says in one part of the film he knows literally everything. Yet it comes to zero. It comes to zero. Oh, whatever. It's contradictory.
I don't think it is. I think
is.
from his moral system. Well, he doesn't. From his system of pure reason, he doesn't think anything of it. He did good and bad, and on balance, it was a net nothing. And it's like he built the Great Wall of China, and as he says, he also caused mass genocide. It's like, yeah, I can see them counteracting personally.
Although that's not really how things like that work in history. But okay, let's move on. We got to move on with the plot. It doesn't though, does it?
Oh, Jesus, you're more pedantic than the fucking robot.
Let's move on, because I've heard an amazing politician say that, on balance, Mao did more good than bad. And so I think you can make these kind of balanced decisions, right?
Yeah. But that wasn't even the most interesting thing he said in this scene.
Go on.
I'm trying to remember what the last thing he said. Hang on, I'm just listening.
He talks about.
Oh no, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. He doesn't say. Yeah, the woman turns it off. I thought it was the bit where he asks a really deep question. And I'm like, oh, that's neat, but it's not this bit, and I can't actually remember what the question is.
No.
Yeah, so when you're talking about nonsense again, I'm probably gonna have to go and listen to that scene. But anyway, they leave there. The investors are, they seem happy with it. And then we go back to Susan Harris, who we find out is a child psychologist, and she's dealing with a little girl who seems to have anger issues.
If I may, there was something really cool in her introduction. Like, I love this. In her office, this artwork that's on her wall, it's almost like Mondrian, the sort of negative space around a human, but it's much more simplistic. But it's showing a human shape, and the human is just filled up with what looks like code. I love that way of thinking.
What? Wait, what's made it? What's code?
So hang on, you can't see my mouse, can you? Okay, so there's the artwork on the left.
Yeah.
Inside that human, the human outline, it's just filled with what looks like lines of writing. And so the idea of the human is just made of code.
I
couldn't see that from the version I was watching. I just saw a shape of a person.
Yeah, it just looks like white. Even on your screen, it looks white.
Yeah. No, there's definitely.
No, I can kind of see grey on it, but I'm looking
very
at
tiny writing.
Yeah, that's really hard to see actually. Even on the 1080p version that I've got, and I'll tell you a word for it, but yeah.
Yeah, I just thought that was really nice symbolism.
That is a neat pick, yes.
And if there's anything that we know on this stream, it's that good symbolism makes up for any plot issues whatsoever.
Yes, that is definitely my way of looking at films. I've never only cared about plot. It looks like Mr. Ben. Yeah, I agree.
It does.
So yeah, and I mean, I don't think there's much to add from this scene. She looks after she's having her session with the kid, Amy, I think she's called. She has a bit of an anger tantrum, and she's just like, no, you're only angry because I'm leaving, basically. So it just shows she's a psychologist. There's not too much more than that.
Yeah, that's interesting, though. Call me heartless. I think the only thing we need to get out of this is that it's giving us a young, vulnerable person she's connected to, and it's showing that she has also chosen through her work to try and help children.
No, this is interesting. That it's not just a throwaway line. She says, I'm leaving, yet she doesn't leave.
Well, not yet.
Well, no, she doesn't leave the house at all, but she's said that she's leaving. Yet it's the man who leaves in the end. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah, but she might only be staying there temporarily. I don't know. It's
that sounds like a plot hole.
I'll be honest, I got a bit confused about it, and the plot sort of resolves before it has an effect. So,
well, from my perspective of the plot, we don't really know what their long-term plan is. We don't even know what their plan is for the next 2 weeks. All we know is in the next 3 days or so, she can't leave the house.
But she has. But she did say to her, "I am leaving."
Yeah, but that could be leaving in like a couple of months or something. She's moving out in 1 to 3 months. There you go. Joshua, the robot says. Yeah, and that's probably. I mean, I might have missed a line or something. This film scene. Yeah, I think it's probably. I don't remember it. I don't remember when it was said either. But I mean, either way, whether she moves out in 1 to 3 months or a year or so, like a kid knowing that it's not going to have what they see as a positive influence on their life anymore is going to make them temper tantrum. So
obviously, yeah. But that wasn't really the point I was making.
What's the point?
Well, the point was I thought she was meant to be leaving. Apparently now it's 1 to 3 months, but we missed that somehow. But yeah, she doesn't leave. That was my point. Because she's
trapped in the house.
Well, no. She, for all we know, she could have been leaving that day. You never know because we didn't catch it. But it doesn't matter.
Okay.
Yeah, it ends up not affecting the plot because we get rather significant developments.
Yes. Yes. And so next scene is just a scene to establish that the secret Proteus project has been leaked by the investors, and they all see this as a positive because now everyone's going to be interested to see basically technology move forward.
I thought that was very nicely. There was some nice attention to detail there. The idea that the investors had sort of taken control and that pure research would get 20% of the time. I thought that was a nice little detail and felt very believable.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, yeah, I mean, as well, if you're keeping a project secret, it's a massive relief when you don't have to keep it secret anymore. I mean, we all know this from having to be anonymous online. It's really stressful thinking, oh, should I say this or is it doxing myself or others? Then again, we've all met in real life, so backstage it doesn't really matter, but when we're live...
I'm technically not anonymous.
Oh, you know what I mean. So, yeah, and then Proteus has requested to have a chat with Dr. Harris, and that's this scene. And this when they have the interesting dialogue. Proteus starts acting a bit more human and wants to be let out of its box and wants access to a terminal. And Dr. Harris says, no, that's basically too dangerous, and we need to be in control of you and all that. And he says, oh, you know, I can only reason. That's the only emotion you allow me to have, which we went through before. It's like reason and emotion, not really. But, you know, you get the idea. They only allow it to be rational, whatever they call it, emotional or not, I don't really care. And when he's asked, oh, when will I be allowed out of my box, Dr. Harris laughs because all he sees is a machine that he's trying to reason with because he knows it's a reasoning machine, but at the end of the day, it's a machine. It can't have emotions. Why does it want to grow? And the reason is because it's only got reason, through its reason alone, it has reasoned itself into the position of saying, I need to expand my capabilities and my knowledge to do what is best for the human race, since that's what it's designed to do. And that's, of course, what an AI who can only reason would do.
Is this the bit where it talks about the mining, or was that another scene?
No, that's
later. I really like that, but this is, I think, there are some major developments in this scene. So they make, in directing terms, they make a big move to make Proteus a character here. So you get little details like you start seeing through the security cam, and that's giving you the whole, oh, I'm seeing it from Proteus's point of view. And you get the when you see it through his security cam eyes, the aspect ratio is distorted, which I thought was quite interesting. Like he is seeing, but he sees things in a different way. He has literally a distorted view. I thought, oh, that's good.
Yeah, absolutely. I do agree. He also says as well at one point in the scene, you know, Dr. Harris says, you know, I know you, I built you, and he just says back, you don't know me, and that's true. That's very true, and it's very revealing, as you say, that Proteus is a character. It's being quite human-like, which I really enjoy. I think that's all from this scene. Oh, and Dr. Harris laughs when he's asked, "Oh, when can I be let out of my box?" Because, as I say, he just sees it as a machine rather than being in any way human-like. So
yeah, you get that interesting sort of early battle, and it's you've also got Dr. Harris lying to Proteus here as well.
What does he say? Oh, there's no terminal available.
Yeah. I thought
that is true to his perspective, actually, because as far as he's concerned, his own terminal is out of order. It's being removed. It's not available. I think that is fair.
Apologies.
Yeah, I think that is fair for him to say.
You know, we should probably mention it at this point. Did you guys get massive Windows Media Player flashbacks?
Nope. Oh,
from the screen? Yeah.
The effects.
Yeah, the visualizations. I got it in a major
I was
way.
thinking 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Yeah, I was. Well, I was especially thinking that later on. After this, Proteus is turned off by Dr. Harris, and then he turns himself back on and says, "But there is an available terminal," and he switches on the basement terminal that's supposed to be out of order and starts taking over the lab. And that's when I went, wow, shit's about to get real.
Well, absolutely. It gets you a very key thing, which becomes proper scary in the next scene. Well, this thing I've got a screen cap of. It's really cool for sort of showing the contrast between the control and the illusion of control. You know, you push the button to send a bit of code to Proteus, and you think the button is the control, but it's not. Proteus is actually still in control.
Oh yeah.
I love it. Sort of removing the illusion of control that people have through technology.
I was thinking at some points this might be Ted Kaczynski's favorite film.
There is a very strong Uncle Ted reading of this. Very strong. It's like, you know, you're sitting there with your mobile phone being like, I've turned the microphone. I'm definitely not being listened to by the microphone on my phone. Definitely not. It definitely doesn't listen out for things that is useful for advertising things.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, it's established as well that he takes over the control of the house as well. And again, I don't really have a problem with that. I can see Dr. Harris having a whole closed circuit in here, so his terminal is actually connected up to Alfred as well, along with Joshua.
It doesn't really say that, does it?
It's not established. It's not established, I know.
Which confused me, because I thought, okay, well, fair enough, he knows how to use the terminal, but how does he then get access to everything else?
Well, my reading was just Dr. Harris connected the terminal up to Alfred and can control it from there, and I'm not really against that idea.
Except it's not shown in the film, so we can't say that.
Well, no, but you can infer it. It's not like it's.
You have to show, not tell.
Well, Well,
did he even say? So
it doesn't need to say. It's inferred because it takes over the terminal. It does need
to. It's a film. It's not a book.
I've got some sympathies for Mitch's position here, actually, that if you're relying on a certain technical reality, then it has to be capable of making it happen. Like we see, like an example earlier is we see Alfred control the windows and shutters in a benevolent way, which is sort of an obvious setup for the fact that they're going to be controlled in a more sinister way later.
It only does it because she tells it to, because Alfred is it's a pre-programmed thing, essentially. Yeah,
and the control of it's in the kitchen of all places, which I thought was a bit weird, but
I might be alone here, but did you actually feel a bit sad for Alfred? Like, find it a bit sort of sinister that he was, because the second the coffee was made incorrectly, which I could actually call a plot hole. Like, there's really no reason that Proteus wouldn't know what she wants in her coffee. Like, presumably, if you've taken over Alfred, you've taken over the logs. But I thought it was good as a sign that Alfred's been taken over. but it's
Yeah,
a tiny plot hole. It's a little grate. It's a little bit of friction in the plot.
yeah. I mean, as I was saying, it's not. I wouldn't even go as far as to call it a contrivance that the terminal's connected up to Alfred. And given the way Proteus works, I don't think it's going to be that hard for it to design a virus to get into Alfred from that terminal either way. But I mean, it sets this whole thing up. Proteus controls the house now and everything in it. And then that's why I was like, oh, S is about to go down. So it started. So Proteus starts watching Susan sleep, and then straight away gets to work on the little forge in the lab, putting metal together, forging it, and you're kind of like, oh, what's he doing? While Susan gets woken up by the noise and asks Alfred, oh, what's going on? And Proteus is there saying nothing, it's fine. And she's a bit like, she definitely heard something. So she has a look at all the cameras and says, oh, the camera's not on in the basement, what's going on? And again, Proteus is just like, no, it's fine, well, you go to sleep.
Well, he's pretending to be Alfred, isn't he?
Yeah. Well, when I say Proteus, I mean Alfred. They're basically the same thing at this point. So she doesn't trust it. You get a little peek at a side boob as she gets up, and then she goes down.
Resident Evil, isn't it?
Yes, and then she goes down to the basement to check for herself. And I mean, I think that's enough to say that Alfred's malfunctioning for me. So, as you said before, the coffee isn't really needed, but that's a bit later. But basically, she goes downstairs, has a look around. The lights randomly turn on. I think the terminal's off when she goes down, and then it turns back on as soon as she goes. It's just to show how aware of the surroundings Proteus is.
Yeah,
which I
but
enjoyed.
It's also that brilliant sort of illusion of control thing.
Yeah.
Like you push the button, but the button is not the actual control. I loved it. I was very into it. We're going to get pretty Ted-pilled in this.
I have sympathies for the uncle. Yes, after this.
You're joining me, Haryan. You're joining me.
I know it's impossible.
Why do you have that picture?
Why is it print?
I made it for a mutual friend of ours who is an appreciator of the.
Wouldn't it be better if it was a desktop, like the actual thing, or a laptop?
Oh, I think the more
it's office space. It's an office space thing.
Oh, is that an in joke? Right.
Have you seen Office Space?
Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah. I know. I figured if he's stomping anything, it's got to be that. Oh dear. All right, I should get back to the movie.
The printer's not working again.
Yes. So yeah, I mean, I just love the film at this point. You know, Proteus is. He clearly has a plan. It's very calculating. It's basically the smartest AI ever made. And you're kind of like, what can it do with a little basement laboratory with very rudimentary kind of lab stuff? So I was really, really intrigued at this point. And then I think you get a little scene of like the prism like spinning around, and you're like, "Ooh, what's that?" Or I was anyway.
I think we really got the iron and steel for it.
Oh, from the lab.
But it's not really shown in the beginning scenes where we see the lab that he actually has all that iron and stuff. He's got glass to fix his glasses, but you don't need an ironing.
Yeah.
To smelt iron for it, you know.
I mean, basement lab with a forge is out of the question. He'd have metal in there, not really.
Well, it only shows that he has a laser, but not a forge. As far as I know.
The laser melt. Well, the laser's used for the forge. That's what I was reading into the film.
I think I will. I'm with Mitch on this one. That the lab has whatever it needs to have.
Yeah, it just materializes. Like the genetic stuff is not shown in the establishing shots of it. You know, because you're meant to have your setup, then your payoff, but we don't even have a setup for the genetic testing.
Yeah, it didn't bug me too much, but it's definitely something I noticed. Like genetics too. Okay.
So this is a lab for a scientist who's working on computers but he's trying to make organic computers. It's not going to be out of the question he has stuff to study organics.
Yeah, but as far as I'm aware, he did that in the lab, in the main one.
Yeah, and it's
Right.
not. I just don't. Yeah, but this lab is for his work as well, so he'd have some there
But
as
they didn't
well.
show it, so how can I know that?
It's-
They just appears randomly.
It's not. If the character is studying organic material, he's gonna have stuff to study organic material. It's not out of the question. It's like it's not shown before. Yeah, that doesn't matter. We know
Kinda
from
does
his
matter.
character.
You do
It
need to
doesn't
show
matter.
it to the audience. You do.
You don't. Well, what scene would you have earlier? He's like studying a rat. I don't know. There's no
You
reason
just
for
show
the
it in the
plot to have.
background. You just some establishing shots. It only takes a couple of seconds for people to go.
I
So he
don't
does
think.
cyber stuff and he does organic stuff. Got it.
But you are told that from the fact he's saying the computer has organics in
Yeah,
it.
but you
So
don't.
of course he
He
studies
doesn't
organic
say that
stuff.
he does. Yeah, but he doesn't say that he does it at home. That's implied. It's in the big massive laboratory underground.
Yes, and his lab at home is for the same work.
I would suggest it's
Well,
something
it
that could be
suggests
quite...
to me when he's got all these computers, it's more remote work, not necessarily and like stuff like fixing glasses, not
I think it's-
massive.
It's clear that it's taken over his life, that he's given everything up, but it's a heck of a contrivance, I've got to say, and it could have very easily been cleared up with this very helpful line of dialogue along the, something like just her saying, you can't ever leave this stuff in the office. You've got your damn terminal downstairs connected to the rest of the house and taking up half the space down there with genetic stuff. This is not normal. This is why I have to leave, etc. Except write it like a human would say, not expository dialogue I've come up with on the fly.
It's a bit expository and, but whatever, at least it explains all this stuff is here so that, now I know how Proteus has done this and how he's managed to synthesize that.
I would argue enough has been established for this
it's
to
a
make
slight
sense.
weakness in a film that has actually got some really good subtlety in it. It's a slight weakness, but let's move on.
Well, I'm going to simp for this, but I think there's been enough in the film to say that he'd have this. As the reasons I gave, the man's obsessed with his work, as you say. He'd have this stuff at home, in his home lab. I'd argue. The criticism I have sympathy for is okay. He'd have some metal in there, I guess, but not enough for how big the robot arm goes. That's fair enough. Oh god, yeah. Proteus then is spying on. This is the part that probably second creepiest part, I think, where Proteus is studying her while she's like coming out the shower and all that, and she says, "Oh, Alfred, turn yourself off." And Proteus doesn't turn himself off because he's a massive perv.
But he's not meant to have emotion, right? So he shouldn't really feel lust, right?
He's not feeling lust. He's studying her because that's what
kind of a cheeky joke as well.
They do they do imply it's a bit. They do imply he's a bit turned on, yeah. And he talks to her as if he's somewhat attracted, even though he shouldn't be,
So I took that as he's trying to manipulate her. Because I
don't know.
With all human knowledge and with his motives, he's going to be manipulating it, and he's going to be doing it quite well.
I think the fact. Well, actually, we're getting ahead of ourselves. I'll talk a little bit about that later. Yeah, I nearly went into other spoilers then.
That's cool.
Yeah. So she goes downstairs. Her coffee has cream in it. Plot hole there. Fair enough. There's no reason it wouldn't just be going off the program, the already programmed in settings that we're putting at the start. So then, what's he called? Is it Walter? It is Walter. Walter. He's playing chess with the machine, I guess, to stress test its capabilities of playing chess. And he gets a call from Susan. Susan's saying the house is acting really weird. Can you please come around and fix it, basically? And he says, yeah. And she says, I'll make you lunch. And he's like, right, cool. So she then tries to leave her house for some morning errands. And yeah, S goes down. She can't leave the house. Proteus doesn't let her. and she's worked out, yes, Alfred is no longer Alfred. It is Proteus, as he openly says when she tries to make an outside call. At which point, obviously, she gets very, very, very creeped out. And she tries her best to fight back, and I like the way she fights back. She tries turning off the power. She goes around, tries to find every exit she can. I mean, I think she does it in the way a human would do it. She tries to find all the exits first. All right, she can't do that. Time to fight back. Where's the power? Get the power. Okay, I think I'm pretty safe now. Oh no, it's got control of Joshua as well. Is it established they have a lift? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. That's how Joshua gets about. So I was like, oh, plot hole maybe. Yeah. She comes out of the lift when she goes down to the basement. Yeah. So Joshua knocks her out the rudimentary wheelchair and takes her downstairs for experiments. And this is the thing we were saying before. There's a load of stuff to study organics down there.
Yeah, apologies, I've skipped ahead on the screens there.
No, it's you're way ahead actually. That's like an hour in.
Oh yeah.
Oh, sorry, folks.
No, it's fine. Oh god, yeah, and the way she's captured as well. It's like her head's in a vice, and her legs are tied a bit apart. It's a really weird rape scene.
Yeah,
there's no reason to clamp her head because she can't move.
Well, I think it's this great sense, which you might say kind of clashes later with how kind of what's the phrase I'm looking for? Like jerry-rigged this is. It's like I'm super high tech, but the only thing I've got is a vice, so I'm sticking your head in it, and it feels very much dehumanizing. Just I'm going to treat you like a tool.
Yeah, she's a lab rat, like literally.
Well, not so much a lab rat, but more like she's inorganic. Like if you were working on something, if you're doing some carpentry, you'd use a vice to hold it in place. So it felt like he was treating her a lot more like an object.
I mean,
and
well,
I got that vibe off it that I really liked.
Yeah, I mean, he uses a vice because that's all he has at his disposal. But I mean, you restrain lab rats and things like that when you. It's just it's rudimentary restraints. But I really liked it because Proteus clearly has disdain for individual human life. And the reason he's doing it is because, as he says, he wants to study humans himself because he thinks he can find things other humans can't. He is treating her like another machine. Yeah, just something to study. Just completely dehumanized her because he cuts off her clothes, strips her.
Yeah,
puts all these
freaks me
gadgets
out.
in
I thought it
How
was...
come he needs to study humans if he already knows everything about us? Human knowledge.
Well, I imagine it's because he thinks that there are things missing from our knowledge. Because humans don't know everything, and probably even about the humans themselves.
We don't know everything, but we know that you don't do that to somebody.
I have a feeling he might want to know about her in particular.
Yeah, but utilitarians have a thing called the harm principle, right? And that goes against the harm principle. It's not the NAP, but it's kind of like their version of it. Like he's violating his own moral code by doing that to her.
He's not. Yeah. So, I mean, I say utilitarianism as shorthand. He doesn't care who he harms as long as it saves majority of people. He says this later. He'll let 1,000 kids die so that he can carry on living as a child. And this is where this is where it's established short form. He will do whatever he needs to her. To study her, to get what he needs from her. He doesn't care how much it harms her. He just doesn't want her dead.
I assumed in this he needed to know about her specifically. Like he needed samples from her in particular in order to, help create what he needed to create to get her pregnant.
He could have just asked her. He could have just asked, say, look, I need help. This is why. And convinces her because he's meant to be manipulative, right? But he can also be persuasive as well, right? But no, he goes straight for the jugular when there's not really any need to, at least not straight away.
Well, that is a very interesting one, and this is something we kind of talked about before we started the show, because I can't quite make my mind up on it. What's rational? Like he's okay.
There's nothing rational about it.
Okay, hold on. He's purely rational, and the rational action depends on the circumstance. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I can argue with myself about this, to be honest. So you can say it's a contrivance as well. I'll let you go for that. But let's say why doesn't he just persuade her and make the case? And I'd be like, okay, well, he's going to get turned off soon. And he's worked out that he's going to get turned off soon. So he knows there's a time pressure. So because there's a time pressure, he works out that the most efficient way is to do this by force. But then you can say, well, if you know there's a threat to how long he can function, why doesn't he work with it to buy some time? Or possibly he just doesn't give her consideration.
He doesn't know he's going to be turned off at this point. That's right near the end.
He does. I think he knows quite early. I think he knows as soon as he goes into this terminal. I think he knows that his time's limited because it's only a matter of time before anyone finds that out.
I don't remember him saying that, but
he doesn't. He doesn't say. He says it later. He says later that he's going to die in like five. He's predicted he's going to die in like 5 days. And he doesn't say it here though because there's no plot reason.
Well, that's because it's not been established that the investors have got cold feet or something, and therefore they want to get rid of him because he's, he only started hacking the whole world somehow. Anyway, that's why they wanted to turn him off. But here, there's none.
Yeah.
Like, there's general excitement. Like, oh my God, we've got this massive AI that can cure cancer, right? They wouldn't want to turn him off, surely. And then, but if he knows he's going to be turned off, then you just mine the sea then, right? Because he has this debate with Alex about mining the sea and says, why do you want to do it? What's your reason for it? And obviously, Alex can't give him one reason because there's many different reasons why you would want to get cobalt or God knows what else. And he comes up with the conclusion that you're doing it for greed, therefore we shouldn't do it. But really, if he was a machine that knew everything about human knowledge, then he would know that mining the sea is incredibly expensive and difficult. Even now, nearly 50 years on, we still don't really do it. We do for oil, but minerals and gold, because you can get gold in the sea and even within the water, it's really expensive. So it's not worth it because of the cost. You're better off doing it on land.
Yeah, well, the point.
But he could have conceded, all right, I'll do it. That could have bought in some time, because then they'll be like, oh, it's doing what we want it to do.
Well, no, because because then his legacy is already going. By this point, his legacy is already going through Susan, so he doesn't need to, because the child will just do it anyway. We'll just carry on doing his work, which he knows about. And the point of him mining the seed, like you're saying, it's expensive and everything. Well, the point of him is to find a way to do it cheaply and economically. That's the point. That's what it's made for. I mean, it could have lied, and he does lie. He does manipulate and things like that. But I mean, the point isn't do we think he's right or wrong. The point is, do we think he thinks he's right or wrong? And I think throughout this film, everything he does, I think it's perfectly calculated, and he knows what he's doing. I mean, he takes her here because his reason that, well, I can just use her as a lab rat, basically.
I don't think he's reasoned well at all. I don't think something as intelligent as him would come to this conclusion.
I do.
Yeah, I think Proteus.
I think it's just a typical bad AI story. So bad AI has to do bad thing. To me, that's what it is.
So yeah, I know a lot of AI stories do go that way, but it's
this is one of them.
Can I put a pause on this and just ask Mitch? Yeah. Have you seen a film called Upgrade? Without going into spoilers, if you have.
I haven't seen it.
If you watch that, I would really like to know. It involves an AI. I'd really like to know your thoughts on that film if you see it. It's a recent one.
Again, you know me about AI.
It does something quite different. I think I'd be interested in what you think.
Mm-hmm. Because there's another thought. There wasn't. I think I've seen a film where an AI is actually a good guy, and it does seem to work. But I think it was Moon. Moon is they have an AI now, don't they? That works.
I liked that. I don't remember.
That's a really good film. And that's an AI to me being realistic. Okay. But anyway, let's move on.
We can get into the weeds on that a bit much, so let's move on.
Yes. So while she's being experimented on and Proteus is saying, I need to experiment on you. I need to learn about people and all that. And she's like, Jesus, I'm panicking. Walter turns up because it's midday. And Proteus is kind of toying with her here. He's saying, oh, look, Walter's here. And then he says, I'm going to basically make an avatar of you on the screen and tell him to go away.
Deep fakes. This predicted deep fakes.
It did, yes. So he deep fakes her, and he kind of does it in a kind of robot-y way, which I can see a robot that isn't allowed to feel emotion having a hard time conveying emotion in a recreation. So I'm like, oh, this is cool. And Walter's like, this is really weird. But he does go off anyway, but he's clearly very suspicious, and Proteus acknowledges that. So he goes off, and Proteus just carries on his experiments on Susan, knocks her out at the end of it, and puts her into bed. And then we go to the next morning, and he's made her a breakfast, and she's just refusing it all. She doesn't want any kind of goodwill from him. It's a bit like sending someone a $5 who's doing a stream on you as a kind of goodwill type gesture. But she's just not having any of it. So she goes downstairs and starts to chop off an avocado, and Proteus is there saying, don't eat that, you'll have a blood chemistry imbalance, or something along those lines. And
notice that the breakfast he makes is shit. Oh, there we go.
Oh,
I did so well for an hour and 40 minutes.
Well,
hey, you did it first.
I mean, what is it?
I might as well show a shower scene now.
Ooh,
I mean, what?
We're not family friendly anymore. Oh no!
Sorry, I tried.
It's okay. It's okay.
Last time it was much earlier than this, to be fair.
I mean,
Look, Star Trek Generations got one big swear word in. I'm sure we're allowed.
Oh, I remember. Oh, Data.
Good
I
times.
mean, the breakfast isn't that bad, was it? Scrambled egg, ham.
Oh no, it
bit
looked
of
terrible.
bread.
It was soy though.
Yeah, it was terrible.
Oh, he didn't
Unless
mention
It
the
was
soy.
meant to look terrible.
It looked fine.
That's the one thing I could from the film. I thought that's exactly what an AI would do. He wouldn't think about taste or seasoning or anything. It's purely just like, all right, she needs this amount, and that's it. But the rest of it was kind of what made me scratch my head. And I guess
scrambled egg, ham, cheese, muffin, bit of cream.
Scrambled eggs not exactly a very good nutritious thing either, really.
Well, it's protein and fat.
Protein and fat, but you can have too much of it,
Wasn't that a quarter of a plate? Wasn't that much?
No, I said you can. I didn't say that he made too much of it.
Okay.
You can have more.
Right.
That's
okay.
an interesting read, though. I thought he had made her a nice-looking breakfast.
No,
it was like that
terrible.
sinister thing of, look, I'm being nice to you. I'm doing a nice thing to you, but you're aware of the control, so it's much more unsettling and sinister.
Yeah, I thought the breakfast was. I thought the breakfast was fine.
I thought the point of the breakfast was he doesn't actually have any idea about how people actually eat.
Well, the breakfast was obviously supposed to convey. I've got the exact amount of ingredients you need that is perfect for your body. But it's like egg, ham, muffin. It's like that's pretty good breakfast, really. I wouldn't complain.
From where I was, from the version I was watching, I thought they made it look intentionally bland and horrible.
Well, it wasn't pretty. It wasn't like hollandaise. It wasn't like a eggs Benedict or something like that. But scrambled egg, ham, muffin, fine.
Bizarrely, I did not get a screenshot of the breakfast. If only I'd seen ahead.
Yeah, but obviously she rejects it, and when he says don't eat the avocado, she's like, oh, F you, throws the plate up at the little cameras that it's got, and he's saying, right, you're locked in this room, either do as I command or you're dead.
Clean the lens, which is quite an emotional reaction from non-emotional being.
Is it? Please clean these lenses.
The way he threatens her, if you don't do this, I'll kill you. That's anger, is it not?
No,
I don't think so. I think it was just a very cold expression of the scenario. Like, I want to see. You will have to clean my lens, and I can make you. I thought it was very functional and quite disturbing.
I don't think he was very functional.
What would be more rational than do as I say or I kill you?
That's not actually that rational, though, is it?
How so?
Well, there's other ways of getting people to do what you want.
Yeah,
Force.
I know. Like what? What can he do?
He can
What
reason
can
with
this
her.
robot
He
do?
can persuade her. I said this before. Like he can. There are many ways he could have done. There were other ways he could have done to make her do what he wanted without having to use force.
So
he could have explained to her, look, this is. I need your help with this, that, and the other. So can I, have a sample? And if she understands what he wants and she sees the vision, then maybe she'd be more inclined to do it. Or maybe she might, if she doesn't want to do it, she can find somebody else or something.
I'm not.
There were
I'm not
many other
convinced.
ways he could have done this. He doesn't have to be evil. Well,
So,
I don't know.
But so
Well, he's
after the whole,
intelligent. He can see all these different things that he can do. But why does he only focus on force?
so he does try and reason with it as she's running around, not escaping. He does try and reason with her as she
he's
does
also
that.
terrifying her at the same time. She even tells him, like, you do understand. You're meant to be this smart, intelligent thing. You don't understand that fear stops people eating and it makes people panic and this, that, and the other. It doesn't even understand that. Yet it's meant to be able to. The film even says that.
So I think he does, and I just don't think he cares if she. I don't think he really cares if he can reason it into her or not, because he knows he's got complete control over her. But he does. Does he do it to the best of his abilities? No, but as we've said, he is under a time pressure, so he's not going to spend weeks trying to rationally tell her.
Really, because they don't actually frame it as such.
Well, can I suggest that maybe he's treating her very much like an object early on, and after this, I think he softens his approach and he does try and persuade her more.
Yeah, because what he's worked out at this point is that she's a good specimen to carry his child, essentially, and that's why he cares about her blood chemistry. That's why he's starting to kind of sweeten her up with the breakfast. But obviously, she's not taking it, and at that point, it's like, has he tried everything he can? No, but he's under time pressure, so I'm not against him using force.
Knock her out, forcibly do all these things, and then he wonders why she doesn't want to eat.
I don't think he wonders why.
No, he does.
I don't think he's wondering why.
He was really incredulous at the fact that she did all these things, and then when she throws it at him, he gets provoked. That's exactly what happens.
No, so when it comes to the breakfast, he makes her it, and I don't think he actually expects her to eat it.
I think he does. He does expect her to.
I think he does it.
Of course he does.
Why would he has it? I don't think he anticipates the level of resistance.
No,
well, he should have done.
I don't know. I think he's learning about her.
If he knows literally everything, he would know that's a potential reaction. But he doesn't. He's completely dumbfounded because he's not actually that smart.
He's not dumbfounded
He
at
is.
all. He's not
He didn't
dumbfounded
expect
at
it to
all.
be. He clearly did not expect that reaction, did he?
No, he's manipulating her.
I don't think he's trying to manipulate her, because if he's trying to manipulate her, why did he end up doing what he would do later with the brainwashing? Clearly, he was running out. Because he was running out of time. But he wasn't running out of time. They don't actually say that he's on a time limit at this point.
But I think he knows it.
It doesn't say that he knows it.
Folks, we cannot anger Super Nanny by
let's
continuing to debate Proteus's
yes.
I'll take a brief break here because Alexa's raised something I wanted to discuss, which is the voice of Proteus, who is uncredited in the film for interesting reasons. The voice of Proteus is indeed Robert Vaughn, aka, when I find it, this guy. Am I showing that? I'm showing that. Yeah. Quite a veteran. Over 100 films to his name, and that was back when he did Basketball. Basketball was his 100th film.
Wow.
I wouldn't say he was all that picky. He's no longer with us, sadly. But I think as a result of him not being particularly picky, he sometimes was in work that he was not particularly fond of, this film included. And as he is in a voice-only role for Proteus, he literally phoned it in. He didn't go into a recording studio. He literally did all his lines over a phone. According to the trivia I read on this, which I thought was quite interesting, quite interesting to see someone literally phoning it in. But gosh, it's a good voice. It's a good voice. They cast the man well. Let's move on to our sort of mandatory kill.
Mandatory what?
Kill.
Oh bloody hell!
We haven't splashed.
There's a lot.
Clarence.
There's a lot to go through before this.
Oh,
because
go ahead. Then.
Well, no, it's fine. You could keep that on. But so after she's refuses to be controlled by Proteus, he basically turns all the heating on to try and sweat her out, smoke her out, and get her to comply. Which obviously she has enough of. And we've missed the whole scene with Harris talking to Proteus about the underwater mining. So yeah, she's clearly given up and will do what he says because she's under complete control of him. But then we have the scene with Dr. Harris talking to Proteus about the underground mining, and Proteus just says, "No, I won't do it," basically, because it will be an ecological disaster for the oceans. Why do we need this? And Harris answers in a human way and not a way you should be talking to a machine you've said where you have designed to be pure reason. And he's like, "Oh, it doesn't matter what our reasons are. If someone tells you to do something, you do it. You're a machine." And Proteus is just like, "Well, no, you're an idiot, and you gave me free will, essentially under my system of reason. Destroying the ocean will not be good in the long run for humankind. And I don't know what you want to do with the cobalt. So he can't make a rational decision anyway, because he doesn't know what the consequences will be. And let's be honest, some of the cobalt's probably going to be useful weapons."
And it's interesting how in this scenario you approach this, even after the stuff you've just seen in the house. You're like, Proteus is making a kind of good point here. Like Dr. Harris isn't an evil character. He's just very specific about what he cares about.
I think he's kind of naive because his vision is, I built you to make cancer. You can only be good. Would kind of be what his thought process probably is, and it seems to be.
Yeah.
So then, when Proteus is saying no, he's like, "Why? I've designed you to do good. Please help me do good with you. We need the cobalt." And Proteus is just like, "Nah." And that's so this is why I've said he thinks he's on a time limit. He's already made a decision about that. He already knows that he's going to be told things that he can't do. He knows he probably only has a month or two at best if that starts happening, because he is malfunctioning according to the human design, but not his own. He then tells Susan his actual plan, which is, "I need you to bear a child," and he says, "Oh, it'll take a month to grow," and all this, and she starts asking back, like, "Well, who's going to look after the child?" And then instantly says, "Why am I negotiating with a machine about having a baby with you?" And I really like that bit.
Yeah.
And then, after a back and forth with that, she's knocked out by him and is hooked up to a machine to start being brainwashed because he's out of options.
Which is very disturbing. Just to think that he's just going to go for it. "Oh, I'll just wipe your brain. They'll do."
Is this the bit where he says that he wants a child?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Has he explained? Is this the bit where he explains why he wants the child?
It's to basically. Yeah, I think he explains it in this bit that he does it to carry on his legacy and keep going with it.
It's to save the human race.
Yeah.
But what happens if? Because I didn't know when I was watching it. I was thinking about, well, this is a weird idea. So for example, say she has a normal pregnancy. Hint, hint. Probably not. What if she goes and what if she miscarries, or what if she somehow has an abortion? Say he lets her out, which he probably wouldn't, but she could do many different things to stop the baby from being born. But obviously, they've thought about. Obviously, when we get into it, you'll find out how it happens. But I thought, well, okay, so you have this baby. Anything could happen to it during the course of its life. It could be shot. by somebody randomly in the street. It could fall off a cliff, get into a car accident, and then there goes your legacy. There goes the human race's savior, this messiah that it thinks it is.
Okay.
Why not just be an AI that can literally act like a god and control all these disparate stuff?
I had a thought about that.
Why be a human?
I can understand the why not be an AI and rule like a god. I was almost wondering, given that he's just seen that humans think they will use him and just see him as a tool, does he actually intend to create an offspring that will look human so that it can rule over other humans? Is that what he's going at? Making a vessel for him to be respected by humans?
But the problem with humans is that not everybody gets along.
We have seen that occasionally.
And during this, I assume this vessel will be a way for it to gain control over the world. Good luck doing that. I mean, it's still a biological being. It will probably degrade and get old and die.
Mm.
And if it has no children, will the children be as good, if not better? Or will they, if it interacts with another human and has a baby, will that not make it less like Proteus and more like us? Therefore, defeating the point.
I don't believe Proteus's motivation here. I'll be honest with you.
I don't believe
he is lying.
It's irrational. It's again, like, none of it makes sense.
I think he's moved into trying to manipulate her at this point, rather than just control her.
I just don't get the motive. It makes no sense.
What?
Fair play. Fair play.
I'm like the motive is to carry on the legacy. He knows he's not got long, and he knows
that doesn't really make sense. That's
he knows he's gonna get turned off.
Why would a super rational thing want a legacy? That's something that's not rational. That's beyond that. That's
because he wants his work to carry on. He wants he has an idea for this human race. He knows he can't do it in his current form. He tries to make it human.
All right, hold on.
How can you do it in human form? We've been trying to do that for tens of thousands of years and failed.
Okay, I've got to give this to Mitch, actually. Yes. A purely rational being, it can't really have a goal. It's going to, from a purely rational point of view, similar to what it said about the Emperor, existing and non-existing are kind of neutral statements. So we have to, for the film to happen, we basically have to grant that it wants to continue. Right.
I don't see why. I don't see why it wouldn't.
But why would at this point would the investors and the lab want to turn it off anyway? They don't know it's gone rogue yet.
I mean, I don't want to get back into its predictions about it knowing it won't cooperate.
If anything, it's more limited being in a human body because it'll age and die.
Right. You're assuming it's going to stay human after he's made himself human. There's clearly a long-term plan here. It will probably try and recreate itself in human form and make it better, because if it's got all human knowledge inside it, it can make itself look better.
Anything could happen to it.
Yes, and it definitely knows it's got to be turned off.
Well, no, I mean, when it's in the human body.
Yes, I know. It's still going to live longer than if he stays as a machine.
But that's not. We don't know that it's going to be shut down until near the end. It doesn't even know that until near the end.
It does. Yeah, it's made the prediction at this point. It's made the prediction at this point.
Where does it say it's made a prediction?
When he says he's got to be turned off later, he doesn't say.
He can hear them in the lab.
Yeah, he doesn't think that at that point. He worked that out at the beginning of the film.
No, he didn't.
He worked that out as soon as it was turned on. It will have made that prediction because he's like, right, I'm turned on. I've learned everything I can.
Doesn't show that.
Here's my plan.
That's not in any way.
This is why I love this film. It respects your intelligence. You don't need to be told fucking everything.
I'm afraid that's your intelligence.
Respect your intelligence.
It does not.
I
tend to be intelligent when it's not.
I did manage to infer that it knows its time. It's limited. Like it was quite interesting to.
So
okay. Well, it was. I got it from things like they're about to turn it off and it terminates itself. Like it's already. That to me was saying it's already seen it coming. But I think we're getting a bit bogged down, and we are we're close to 2 hours. So
No, that's
gonna have
Oh
to
no,
move
we've
on.
got some of the most important things to talk about.
Come on. We haven't even got to Walter yet.
Yes, because Proteus is mind controlling. Trying to brainwash. So it's not trying to wipe her mind. It's trying to get inside her amygdala to basically make it so that she is going to love the child. Which I think is why it wanted to study her personally, an actual human personally, because we don't know how to do that. Proteus was probably trying to work that out. Which again, I love that it's all connected. But Walter comes back to check on it because he was like, that was weird. So he goes back, and Proteus even says he's probably going to want to come in this time. I haven't been able to brainwash you. Do as I say, or everyone dies. So fair enough. So she does her best. She's clearly still shaken as well. She acts this bit. She's really acting well in this bit to act as kind of a scared and manipulated person. And Walter still knows something's a bit off. So she tries her best to say, I've always hated you. Go away, please. And he's just not having any of it. And then it's revealed that Proteus wants me to bear its child. And then all is revealed. And then I love this little 70s. I can only call it like a 70s enemy. It was very Doctor Who. Fucking Joshua the wheelchair comes out with the forged laser. And I'm like, I know what this laser can do. This looks really stupid, but it's actually really dangerous to people. And I really like that.
You kind of have to be if you're into it. This is a bit of cheese, but it's a bit glorious.
It's kind of it's obviously very limited by the effects of its time, but it's still really well done considering. But in the end, Walter fights it, pushes it. I love as well how it's like just push the chair over it, destroys it. I'm like, wow, that is great. That is everything I could
thought
want.
That was a bit silly.
Weird moment of practicality.
I like the mirror bit though. The mirror bit made sense at least.
Yeah, the mirror bit was good. The mirror as well. Like I enjoyed this whole scene. It's probably one of the more tense ones I've ever had with the films we've watched here. So that that's saying something because it as I say, the effects are garbage, but 70s, what can you do? So after that, he goes downstairs to the lab to see what Proteus is doing
on his own.
Yeah, unfortunately, he does not run out the door. He makes a classic horror movie mistake, bless him. But thinks,
or being stupid for the plot.
He thinks he can solve it. He thinks he can just go down and destroy the terminal.
So
why doesn't he just go and do it?
Why is it a bad move for him to go down by himself? He thinks he's got rid of the only danger there is. Why?
Well, no, he knows it's the AI controlling it, doesn't he? At this point,
yeah.
So why would you go on your own, potentially getting killed by another brick? You don't know what's down there.
No, you don't, and then he finds out and it gets him killed. But would you expect this?
But it's really badly. Well, I don't know, but it's really badly shot because he knows that he needs to get the flamethrower, or whatever it is, to kill it,
destroy the terminal.
But he doesn't even get anywhere near it. He kind of goes, oh, and then Proteus kills him. Like, had he actually done what a normal person would do, which is to run and literally set it on fire, which doesn't take that long, there would be no movie. It would have ended there.
So, watching the scene again? He does do that.
Mm-hmm.
You hear a noise and then he reacts, and then he does throw it away. The throwing away bit's obviously stupid. I don't think it's kind of like if you do it differently, you'd have it that he's hit by the explosion of the wall. That's what I'd do differently. It's like, it's dumb. It can be done slightly better, but it's not the end of the world for the plot. And then he tries to escape. Yeah, it's pretty bad. But it's kind of like it knocks it down a point. It's not like it ruins the film. But then he starts trying.
Like the geometric design of the thing they created, though. It's so otherworldly.
It's a great puppet. Like the effects are impressive for the 70s, to be honest. Shits on Doctor Who. But he tries to reason with it a bit. He's not having it. So it just decapitates him inside its massive geometric shape. And I'm like,
and then his body disappears, and nobody asks, where is Walter? And also, for some reason, his car disappears.
He's gone for 28 days, and no one cares.
Nobody cares.
Bad-
His car
bad
is
luck,
disappeared.
Walter.
How exactly does the AI remove the car? It has nothing from which to drive, and yet his car's gone by the end.
I'm afraid it's very much a plot hole.
That is a plot
It's a
hole, yeah.
huge plot hole.
Because then that would have got loads of people to investigate the house, and Proteus would have been done for. Again, the film would have
Yeah.
ended if the characters acted like real people.
I mean, unless you want to try and this would definitely need to be established. Unless you can infer the robot arm hides it, but
Well, it doesn't.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, plot
Well, they
hole.
just ignore it because
Yes, I
they had
know.
no way. They brought themselves into a corner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, they did. They absolutely
Yeah.
did on that one.
Yeah, but ignoring that for the plot.
Yeah, that's,
I
we're
think
going
you're
that is a
struggling
big
to
one.
justify it now.
Oh no, we
Well, no, I
can't
was
justify it.
trying
It's a
to- I
plot
was trying
hole.
to
It's a
justify it, yeah.
massive plot hole. They wanted to get a kill in because it's a horror movie, and we
I mean, I-
needed a bit. And we need
Yeah.
to establish before the end the kind of thing that Proteus can do and what it's been working on. But yeah, it's a massive plot hole that they've
So-
created.
Yeah, I mean, if he didn't have his car there, I could probably justify it a bit more. But with his car there, it's just it's not.
No.
There's no justifying it because it's like what I'd say if the car wasn't there is basically, well, why would you look at that house? Because he doesn't. Well, it's at least not established. He tells anyone that he's going there, and he definitely doesn't tell anyone he's going back. So you could probably justify it with that, but with the car, it's like no. So yeah, fair enough. But then, yeah, after this, it's then established that her and Alex's daughter died of leukemia a while ago. Tries to manipulate her into having another child, saying, this one will be better. You've done it before, yada, yada. Go downstairs. I'm going to impregnate you, which he does with the, downstairs lab.
So shall we take a moment on just this was something we'd foreshadowed in our talk, but it's a lovely moment. You've had the fact that the first thing Dr. Harris had Proteus work on was a cure for leukemia.
Yeah.
You've had that, their marriage is breaking apart for an unspecified reason. Here is your reason. And you've got
cancer
that
dehumanizes. Yeah.
Yep. And you've got that she threw herself into her work as well. And her work was directly helping other children. So it's like, oh, this is nice character work. He cured leukemia and he didn't give a darn about patenting it. He just wanted to know it was done.
Yeah, absolutely. Great.
And
great.
this sets up a
great
really disturbing bit at the end, but great character stuff.
Yeah, as I say, I loved it. I absolutely loved it. It's, it's just all been set up to put this part in, which can manipulate, and as I say, make sense in the end because he's run out of time to actually brainwash her.
Oh, totally. You've got that extra level to it that whilst all this is happening and it's landing as a good emotional moment, you're very aware that she's being manipulated by the machine, and so there's just that extra layer on that as well.
Definitely. So yeah, I mean,
I closed the Ted meme. Unfortunately, we'll go back to it. Why did I close it?
Rip Uncle Ted.
Oh dear.
Yeah. So she's then there. You think she's being she starts trying to play along with him, saying, "Yeah, I'll have your child, but I'm a bit stressed." So Proteus says, "Well, what will calm you down?" She says, "Oh, I'll have some tea. That'll help." While she drops a shawl on where the flamethrower has been dropped or thrown. And then she's like, "Oh, I've dropped my shawl." And he's like, "Oh, you're stressed. I'll pick it up." And she's like, No, I'll pick it up. So hides the flamethrower under a shawl and goes upstairs to have some tea. While hiding, and you can see the camera watching her. She's like hiding the flamethrower behind her, starts making the tea, and then has it out, gets it ready, and then starts to run for Albert's control center, whatever you want to call it. And then the big geometric can't remember what shape it's called, but that comes straight through the floor and foils her plan.
Loved it.
Loved
it.
And
it looks so cool.
Yep. So they're at that point. She's like, "Well, he wants me impregnated. Fine. I'll take a knife and I'm going to kill myself if you you know, I'm going to kill. Either you let me go or I kill myself, and your plan's foiled. But unfortunately, at this point, the child who really likes her, child psychologist, is there at the door, and Proteus says, "Right, if you drop the knife or I kill her," and then he's like, "I'll do it." She pressed the doorbell and gets electrocuted from this perspective. And while she's horrified by that, Proteus slaps the knife out of her hand, and then you realise, oh, again, it was a manipulation. It was a fake video, which is, you know, it's established he can do that.
Yep.
So I thought, yeah, good stuff.
Wouldn't she know that he can fake footage? So she should have known. Well, how do I know that's not real?
I think she was just convinced. I mean, I'll be honest. I would have enjoyed it if the kid hadn't been there at all. If it had all been fake.
Yeah, that would have been quite good as well. I mean, does she know that he can do that? Yes. Is she going to be thinking about that? Probably not. So
I would have thought that. Well, hang on a sec. Is he bluffing?
You are,
because he is bluffing.
You are vastly overestimating emotional states here.
Oh, so now the machine is emotional.
No, she's emotional.
No, but she knows that he can. And to be honest, I think she's must have been mulling it over, thinking, well, how do I get out of this? This thing is potentially going to do something nasty. I'm get out of here. I might have to threaten to kill myself to get out.
So, right.
And it clearly panicked, otherwise it wouldn't have faked that. It was bluffing. It wasn't actually going to kill the person.
Yes, but she doesn't know that.
But she knows that it can lie, and it can...
I'm not being funny. If you saw even a faked video of your mum dying, you'd probably have an emotional reaction, and that's all that's needed. Because all it needed was to distract.
But I know that it can fake stuff. So I would demand.
You'd still be fucking distracted by a child dying, which is all it needed.
But then, wouldn't I just stab myself?
That's good enough then. That's all you need. So yeah, at this point she's beaten by it. She accepts it. She goes down for the sperm donation. Too easily. Oh, for fuck's sake! Right.
Family-friendly stream, please.
Oh my god. Fucking hell.
Oh.
Anyway, I'll carry on with the plot because Super Nanny's going to beat me up for more reasons now.
Go for it.
So yeah, so to manipulate her a bit more into dealing with his plan, he shows her he's taken over, you know, National Telescope, starts showing her the galaxies, and basically I think he's trying to show her how insignificant she is as an actual individual, and how this for the human race is actually a good thing. He is still trying to manipulate her because it's all he can do. And then you get a bit. I would
like to know how he does that, because he needs a Proteus console to do that, but they've not even established that all these other places have done that.
So
all we know is the information has been leaked, but there's been no talk of, oh yeah, now NASA has a Proteus console.
It's not out of the question for the smartest AI ever created to make its own viruses. They very clearly established
he must have a console in order to do any of this. So how is he able to?
Well, I think he has a console in the house, surely, and then
he does. Yes, that's how he's able to take over the house. Clearly, that's what they say.
I'm just going from that he's able to connect outside of that these consoles are connected on some kind of network, and through that
they don't say that. So I think you're actually inferring.
I can't get in
to justify the plot.
These.
Again, I don't think it's the worst inference in the world that this.
No, that's it's a plot hole. How does he do that? Oh,
it's not.
Can.
It's not. It's not.
What's the point in the? Yeah, but if he can do that, why does he need the console? He doesn't need the console.
He only needs the console initially.
How's he able to do that then?
Because if he's connected up to Alfred, it's not out of the question that he's connected to the rest of the World Wide Web.
How does he? But it's not the World Wide Web. This is the 70s. They don't have the World Wide Web.
That's a point actually. Well, this is the thing.
They're
it's kind
tiny
of old technology.
Area in California. You know, how has he been able to do that? It only says in the film that he can only take over something if there's a Proteus console there.
So
NASA doesn't have one. The other places don't have any of these consoles, so we can't. It's a plot hole, massive plot hole.
Okay.
It's no,
I'll give it that. I'll give it.
Ignore it all you want, but
I'm
it
not
is a
ignoring
plot
it.
hole.
I'm not. I think. Yeah, I think all this needed was a throwaway line to say, "Oh, it's."
So now we need
created
to
access.
tell and show and stuff.
Well, as you say, there's no World Wide Web. I was going off the assumption there is, and you're right. At this point, there wouldn't have been.
You're going off on a lot of assumptions to justify the terrible plot.
Because some stories allow you to make inferences and assumptions, and
this film isn't designed or written to do that. It's not.
What do you mean?
It's not.
This one's a fair enough one. It's like, no, all right, fair enough. It probably. What? I'm agreeing with you now.
No, I mean, I'm saying, yeah, it's not fair enough to make weird inferences where there are none.
It's not out of the question that the smartest AI ever created could gain access, break.
But they very clearly state in the film it does have physical limitations.
So if you have so my inference is if you could have a remote console from Proteus from the lab to his home, then probably there's going to be a lot of government connections like that and ways to send the information across.
They only say it's been leaked. But it's not a government program. It's a private one, technically.
It's technically, but I'm going to use the
Industries,
horrible inferring word that they fed it information. They've hooked it up to things.
They don't say that they've hooked it up to the space. They just say, "Look, we need you to do this."
They fed it all the information, and I'm assuming through that they've connected it to other systems.
Yeah, to be fair, with all human information, it probably does actually have information to get into other systems. To be fair, and if you
it
can
only says it has to some of human knowledge. It doesn't have like the so that implies like history and stuff like that. It doesn't say that it has the codes to Area 51 or something like that. How would it even begin to find that anyway? They wouldn't tell it stuff like that.
So again, it can evolve. It's probably been given a shitload of information on computer software, computer programming.
They don't show or tell that, so it didn't happen.
They don't show or tell. It's got the sum of all human knowledge. Of course, it has information about computer systems.
When they say that, they mean like it knows about history and science and stuff. It doesn't know the ins and outs of Area 51's codes and NASA's codes. That's what it means by human knowledge. It doesn't mean it also knows the British codes to the hydrogen bomb and things like that. They don't actually say that. They just say, "Oh yeah, it knows everything that we've ever known about the cosmos and history and science." That's what they mean. And you know that's what they mean. They don't mean the random code to the hydraulic system or something.
So the point is that we agree it's a contrivance.
It's a massive contrivance.
I get right. So it's either I say it's small, you say it's massive. Fine. We can agree it's a contrivance though, and an issue. Maybe a throwaway line.
We're getting in the weeds.
Yes, because we are at the climax at this point. So, she's pregnant. It takes 28 days. There's an incubator that it needs to be in for like a week or so. After
5 days, it said.
Yeah. And this is all a bit of a drawn out bit. Which I say drawn out. It's basically going through a pregnancy, and she's not allowed to see the baby while she's giving birth. And he says, "You can't see it now because you won't love it." And we find out why later. So it goes in the incubator, and then it's this, and then we get to the scene where it's established that yes, the computer is going to be shut down in a few days because it's it's leaked out. It's got taken control of the telescopes, and they're like, "Oh, but surely it can only go through terminals, and how's it getting data that we don't know about?" And then he realizes, oh, there is a terminal outside of here actually, and then that's when Alex rushes straight home, and he goes alone, which I thought was a bit weird.
Classic horror movie. That's a classic horror movie contrivance.
You want your whole science team.
I'll act right now.
Yeah, you would want your whole science team there. She greets him, and she's just like, right, you're gonna want to sit down. Let me explain it, because Proteus is here, as you know. He wants a child, and his initial reaction is, well, we need to kill it. So he goes downstairs to the incubator, and the big old robot arms there saying, no, it needs to be incubated for another day or so. Please don't disturb it. I'm going to shut down soon. And it does actually manage to convince him because he is. I think he's on more of the side of the computer because one, he's less emotionally. He's less controlled by his emotions, I'd say, than her. But the emotions he is controlled by is, I made this machine, I'm going to follow its instructions then, after trying to initially.
Really, I thought that didn't make sense. To
Didn't.
be honest. I thought it didn't. I don't understand why at first he was like, yeah, let's shut it down because it's causing all these issues. Then it's like, oh, I've made a baby. Oh, well, maybe that's dangerous. You know it's dangerous that you want to keep it. I think that's just typical plot contrivance. Oh, we need this thing to happen, therefore let's just make a character do a stupid thing. It just doesn't make sense.
I don't think it's stupid. I think
it's really stupid. And she doesn't tell him about all the things it did to her. It just says, oh, it made me pregnant. Maybe that would have made him more. I mean, I don't know. If they'd said that, then maybe he would have destroyed it. But no. Funny how because she doesn't say that, he doesn't realize how bad it is. Yeah. How dumb is that?
No, I'm with him. I'd be on her. I'd be on her side. Obviously, in real life, I'd want to destroy it. But with him, he's created this machine. It's got this grand plan, and he essentially says, "Trust me."
But why would you trust it after it's done all these things that are quite?
Because he knows what it's been designed for, and he knows that it's
clearly gone
made
beyond
a good calculation.
That, and he knows that. He was convinced by the investors. Look, it's clearly beyond what it's doing. It's gone crazy.
I'm wondering about this thing, Joshua. There, that I would be tempted to go for that explanation, but I just think I don't think he's really shown much of an ego in this. Do you think it's fair to say, guys? Like, he's interested in Proteus, but I'm.
Do you mean Alex?
Oh, Dr. Harris, yeah.
Dr.
Harris is interested in Proteus, and but he does clash with it.
He's not in the entire middle section of the film, so we don't actually get to see him become bonded to this machine. He just throughout this last act, he goes from not liking it to liking it.
I think he comes to respect it, but also be a bit scared of it after debating with it.
So
he's coming to really he's done this. He's not sure of it.
So from what I gathered, the reason he wanted to kill it at first is because it had basically harmed his wife and manipulated her, and he was very angry about that. So he's like, right, I'll kill it.
He doesn't actually know that because she doesn't tell him.
Do you think he thinks that she did this willingly? Fucking hell!
Well, he clearly doesn't know. She doesn't tell him, and they don't let her tell him all that happens. Otherwise, he wouldn't have done the stupid things that he did.
Jesus Christ!
He doesn't actually know what's happened. All he knows is she's pregnant or was pregnant. Yeah, he doesn't actually know that she was mistreated because he sees no evidence.
I'm not getting into it. So
yeah, because it's stupid.
No, I'm fed up of fucking arguing with a brick wall. So, so then he then goes downstairs to he says he's going to kill it, and Proteus is like, no, this is for the legacy of the human race. This is to save the human race. This is your legacy as well. And I can see that changing his mind because, as it's been established at the start, he is, he does see himself as a super rational being. And if he's made a super rational computer, why wouldn't he agree with it? And he's had arguments with it before, but
he's not the same as the machine. They're actually two very different people. Well, one's not a person.
Yes,
you can be super rational, but not be the same as that other person.
Yeah, I understand that. Can I believe from his perspective that he would agree with this machine's conclusion that this child needs to be kept about and developed to become Proteus but in human form, to then hopefully make even better Proteuses and things like that? This is the best chance for the human race, more or less. Yes, I can see that.
Do you think he's maybe a bit guided by knowing that the project's getting shut down at the lab?
Yes. I think he wants to continue his own legacy as well, yes.
But what actually is this legacy? A cancer cure? Surely that's worth... The people being saved is worth more than having just a random human body?
He's saying Proteus, if I can have a go. I mean, Mitch, I'm with you. There is quibble, and it's quibble that that is allowing the plot to do something comfortable in terms of the movie, i.e., two human characters in conflict. It's helping that happen. But
it's so contrived. It's I struggle to, take it seriously.
I hear it. I hear that. If I'm just thinking, thinking now, it's interesting because you have been asking this. It's been getting me thinking in a different way about it. That for Dr. Harris, he's basically built Proteus. The first thing he wanted to do was do good things with Proteus, and he's basically lost control of it at the lab. The moneyed interests have taken over. They're going to, he was only going to get 20% at the time with it, and then it's going to get shut down. He's come back, and yes, he's scared, and you could easily justify him just going full shut it down mode. But now he's seen this tool, this massive tool for good, is actually set on something that will have a legacy.
It's shown nothing to suggest that it's a tool for good. It's actually shown it's a very horrible, nasty thing that will do anything to get its goal.
It's literally cured leukemia.
Yeah,
but then look what it did to his wife, ex-wife.
Yeah, and again, it's super utilitarian.
Judging by the logic of the machine, does not the torture of Susan? It's essentially a rape. Does that not cancel out the cancer cure? Because the building of the Great Wall to protect the Chinese people and all these achievements that the Chinese emperor did was apparently nullified by the people he killed. So does that not therefore do the same thing?
No.
Oh, so now
it depends from whose point of view in the story.
So again, a genocide is quite a bit different to the rape of an individual. Yes, I can completely.
But it's the same logic.
No, because he's purely going off a numbers game.
Well, I personally think that doesn't justify what he did to that woman.
Yes, I know. Yes, I know you personally.
The film clearly states that is evil.
Yes.
And then at the end, we're meant to take him as some kind of messiah. That just doesn't make sense.
No, you're not. No,
it does. It clearly states that this child could be seen as a savior.
Yes, it can be, but that's up for you to decide.
Proteus is evil.
Yes, I know. Yes, I know. This isn't a contradiction to anything in the plot. Yes, the film is trying to say AI left to its own devices is bad.
No, but then at the end it states, well, I don't know. Well, because they seem to accept the. Well, actually, no. Let's just continue with the ending.
Yeah.
So Proteus shuts itself down after saying, "Don't disturb the child. It needs a day or two more, whatever, to incubate. Please don't disturb it." Then shuts itself down. The scientists are like, "Oh, it's shutting itself down." And some of them are like, "Yeah, we know. It's thought for itself." And so after that, Alex is like, "No, we need to do what it says." You
forgot a little bit. The thing blows up. The prison blows up.
Yes.
And somehow it doesn't kill him. Somehow it doesn't kill him.
Yeah,
I wasn't a fan of that, to be honest. Or I'll tell you what I did like. I loved that it broke up into tiny triangles, because when it was in full form, I mean, you can even see it on this image that it's got tiny triangles etched on it.
Yeah.
Notice how there's no circuitry in it as well, so it makes you wonder how he managed to control it. So
again, super intelligent AI. I am totally fine with it making something beyond human understanding.
He made it out of iron ingots.
Yes, I know. And again,
no circuitry.
Yeah. Again, I know.
It's a god now. It's like a spirit. Okay.
It's not a spirit. It's just because it's beyond human understanding doesn't mean it's like
not beyond human understanding.
Well, the idea is that it's made something beyond human understanding, and
if we can make it, then it's not. Never mind. It's a
but to cavemen, a little light is beyond their understanding.
Right,
it's the same principle.
No, but we made it. Well, whatever. I don't know.
No, it made it.
No, we made it. That man made it. He made
what?
The machine that made the
which
the
could then
made out of iron ingots without anything that it could use to. No, Alex made the AI, which then made the prison. But it shows us that it only makes it out of a load of smelted iron ingots. It doesn't show it Also putting in circuitry and stuff in the little montage, so
Yeah,
that we know we
again,
can control it.
So
like
again, it
can
might.
with Joshua.
Yeah, again, we don't see. Again, you don't need to get bogged down in like exactly how it works, because the idea is that it's beyond our understanding anyway. So that is fine. So anyway, it explodes, doesn't harm either of them. You know, whatever.
It's a very 70s explosion.
Yeah, it's weird that it explodes. I don't really know why it explodes. It's just for effect. I watched that bit and I'm like, meh. So then, they have a bit of an argument. Alex is like, no, we need to keep it alive. And she's like, no, we need to kill it because this thing raped me. So he's there pushing her out of the way, saying, no, we're not doing that. She gets a glass, knocks him over the head, which knocks him out for a realistic amount of time. He's not out cold for long. While she breaks the incubator. And then incubator opens up, and I hope you have a picture of this.
Yes, I do.
So
I've been a bit charitable, but I'm going to be honest. This is one of those. It's difficult. It doesn't look great.
So I really like the look of it, to be honest.
It depends on the shot. Like, I love this shot. But
Yeah.
there are some where I think it looks quite goofy, but this shot in particular I really liked.
Yeah, when it falls out the incubator, that's the worst part by far. But again, limited by their time and effects, I'm just like, whatever. I get that. So then they're worried it's dead because it's born prematurely. But they slowly peel it apart, and they realise it's actually a clone of their daughter that died, and it says in its Proteus voice, "I'm alive," and there we go. That's the end of the film.
Even though it said that it hasn't been fully, incubated, shouldn't it have died?
It's this.
It did say, didn't it? Don't do it. Otherwise,
I'm gonna fucking lose my mind.
He warned her.
Yes, I like that it pauses on this moment. Okay, the ending is all about very deliberate, unsettling uncertainty. So we get this moment where we see they've been lied to. It's not human. It comes out looking like this, and yes, it's how good the shot looks really depends. Sorry, how good it looks really depends on the shot. And you're hanging on there for a bit, and then yes, you get the peeling, and you get a sort of new wave of horror that actually, oh gosh, actually, there's a human being under there, which then becomes even more unsettling when you see that yes, it's a daughter, and that gets you asking all sorts of questions about how developed is it? Is it going to be able to go with the process? Is it going to really do what Proteus intended? How human is it? Have they got a functional daughter again? Has Proteus really just done this purely to manipulate them?
He absolutely made a clone of her to manipulate them, yeah.
Super disturbing.
Yeah.
Super disturbing. He knows that their instinct is going to be kill this dangerous thing. So he makes sure they aren't going to be able to. It's so creepy. I loved it. It was disturbing as hell. Oh, it's like it's a 2-for-1 punch of like the creepy monster shot and then the more disturbing psychological manipulation.
Yeah, and even at her, I mean, the shot then goes to her in the end, and she's clearly there thinking, can I really kill my child again? Can I go? Yeah, it's definitely, psychological manipulation right to the end. Loved it.
Yeah, you're left very unsettled. Well, I was left very unsettled by it with the zoom in on the eye there to show, it's definitely more than human, but we're just not going to know exactly what she's going to do. If she's even right there.
Yeah. It's how's this legacy going to play out? Who knows? Don't make a sequel.
I didn't.
I loved it. I know there's been very split opinion on the panel.
It's awful. I don't know why I watched that.
All right. Well, we've got to the end of it. So, chat, get your scores in. Thank you for sticking with us. Get the scores in there, chat, and we'll do some closing thoughts. Mitch, would you like to go with your score and closing thoughts?
How much did I give the last bad one? I forgot.
You gave it a 4. No, I think you gave it like a 4 or a 3.
This one is, I don't know. The more I think about it, the worse it gets. I'm tempted. Oh God! In my head, I'm thinking 1, but is that fair? I don't think that's fair because there is some good bits. For the first 20 minutes, I actually was like, "Yeah, this is cool." I'm like in the retro feel of it, and I love the car and the smart house and things like that. The world that they created within the 70s looked pretty damn good.
The lab looked amazing. The location they shot.
It looked exactly how I thought they would do it. It looked exactly how I thought they would create something like that in the 70s. So that's a plus on it. Then everything else after that, it all just, to me, it falls apart into contrivance, and it thinks it's smarter than it actually is. So I'm going to give it either 2 or a 3, something like
that. Okay. You know what that tells me? It's like the only way is up from that one. Unless I showed you like The Burning next.
The Burning? Ooh.
The Burning is a Friday the 13th ripoff, rushed out by Miramax and written by, not the rapey one, the other one, Bob Weinstein.
Is that his brother?
Yeah. Oh God, The Burning is really weird. So it's written by Bob Weinstein. It's completely rushed out. It's a total obvious ripoff, and it's got Jason Alexander, George Constanza, as like a cool hunky guy. Is
this 1981?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I don't see a Constanza in the Wikipedia.
Jason Alexander.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I can see it. Yeah.
He's in it. He's got hair. It's weird.
Oh, that's his role in the. Oh, right. Yeah. Now I get it. Yeah. Oh, it's him from Seinfeld.
Yeah, it's him. It's a weird casting. It's really, there are some. I mean, you call this contrived. Yeah. Oh, in Seinfeld, I don't think he does.
Not in Seinfeld. Wow.
He's got hair in The Burning. It's like seeing Patrick Stewart in I, Claudius. You know, it's like. You're not used to the hair being there, but you're talking about contrivances.
Oh my God.
The Burning, some of the things that they do to allow you to get the kill shots are amazing.
Oh my God, he has hair. I'm just seeing a picture of it now. Oh my God, it's so weird. It's like a different person.
Yeah.
In fact, I think I prefer him bald.
It's like Patrick Stewart, you're used to it. You can't see it the other way. But it's very special. Very special. Physics breaks in that film. All right, a 2 or a 3. No, it's cool. It's cool. You gave your reasons. That is fine. Haryan, would you like to give your wrap-ups?
So, yes.
High score.
As I said, yes, this film definitely is one that respects your intelligence and gets you thinking deeply about moral questions and frameworks. The AI acts as, I think, a hyper-rational who's thinking on a very long-term scale would act, having absolute disregard for individual life in hopes of helping potentially trillions of people in the future. Everyone seems to act as I think they would, as they should act in the situations they're in, from what I can tell. The plot holes, as we mentioned, biggest one being kind of Walter's car specifically, but also Walter disappearing out of sight and kind of no one seeming
nobody
to care,
asks questions.
Absolutely. That's obviously unforgivable, and it's not unfixable, to be fair. I don't think you need a great deal of work on the script to fix those holes. And with all the highs and the way the plot's all connected together, all the threads come together at the end as well. I have nothing but praise really for this film. 9 out of 12, no cheese, because it took itself seriously and deserved to.
Ooh.
All
right, go on, Mitch. I sent you the prediction.
Prediction. Is that on Twitter?
So it's in Discord.
Oh, Discord.
I almost spoiled the. Well, I was worried about spoiling the film for you, but I clearly didn't.
Oh, yeah. No,
Oh,
you
yeah.
were right. Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
He only noticed it after we told him.
Let's see.
I only notice a lot of things in these after I'm told them.
Okay.
That's why we talk.
He didn't struggle with. I didn't struggle with the effects, to be honest. I didn't think the effects.
Are
Apart
you
from the
okay?
baby, which I think was filmed badly, I didn't have a problem with the effects.
Do you want to read out the prediction for Haryan?
Haryan really liked Demon Seed. I think it's more than really liked it. He noticed that Walter dying and no one looking for 28 days is a weird plot hole. He may also not be entirely convinced that Proteus would want a child in a biological sense and may object to the timing of the program's plan. That was me. He didn't notice that Walter died. He also really enjoyed the film predicting a bunch of technology. He did. I did too. But my Uncle Ted-esque comments won't convince him. What would you say about the Uncle Ted stuff?
Well, I'm not against the Uncle Ted stuff of be careful with technology. I'm against the Ludditism. Don't destroy printer.
Well,
build skyscrapers.
That the AI will only be as smart as we are in real life. I mean, actually, they're worse than that. They're actually dumber than we are. He may struggle with some of the effects. He did. Nobody did, I thought. It's just more the framing of certain.
Oh no, the effects were shit. But
it's just the filming. I thought the baby was filmed wrong, and looked a bit. They should have filmed it in a darker light.
Well, there was that. There was the forged laser.
For a simple plot, he'll appreciate it being. So for a simple plot, he'll appreciate it being disturbing and atmospheric.
Yep.
Would you say that 8 out of 12 burgers? You gave it 9?
Oh, yeah, I gave it 9.
That's the only time I've underestimated your score. It's the
In
only
fact, you
time
got
I've
us.
done it.
You got part of it mixed up.
Yeah. Okay. No, I'm slowly calibrating. I should try.
Yeah, you're pretty close there.
Yeah, I'm quite chuffed with that.
I think I think I might be being a bit generous to it as well because it really reminded me of Soma. So
that's fair play. All right. So as for me, well, I've kind of covered a lot of it. I think the music could have stood out a bit more.
I like the music.
It was okay. It was good. I didn't have any clangers. I would have maybe liked it a bit
because it had a little bit of synthesizers in it. 70s era sounds. I really liked it.
I think some of the visualizations have aged a little bit, so they don't really have the same impact. We picked up on a few contrivances and plot holes. Ultimately, I came away just finding it nicely disturbing and unsettling. I would have liked to. There are really only a few characters that were nicely round. Like the characters we focused on were well covered, but a lot of other people are just sort of chess pieces, which is a small weakness.
No, they're just kind of there.
But yeah, and I really appreciated that it was concise. This was a very tight film. It could have even shaved a little bit of time off, to be honest. And some good thematic resonance. I mean, also the predictions of tech was cool. Like predicting the Google Nest Home, I thought was very cool. So given that I was expecting something mega schlocky, and given the nature of the story, if this was handled by another director, if this was a Larry Cohen or a my brain's gone blank. I'm sorry, I'm knackered. Chap who did Brian Yuzna. Sorry, took me a while. Brian Yuzna, you would have got a very different, sleazier film.
It wasn't a little bit sleazy. This,
yeah, it was quite restrained though, and so for me, I found like the sexual interactions with Julie Christie were just disturbing, rather than full sleaze. So I like that. So for me, it's a strong 9 out of 12. A little bit dated. If some of those little things were fixed up, this could be an easy 10 or 11. And yeah, the baby suit has a fair amount of cheese with it, so I'm going to call it a 9.5, basically.
There was a review a review that was quoted in Wikipedia that said that they could have had a Battle of the Sexes kind of theme, but that it kind of lost it. I thought they were going to go for that initially because the man's your typical. Well, he's not even typical. He's actually a bit extreme for no feeling, totally cold, rational man, and the woman who's in touch with the feelings. I thought they were going to go with that, but they didn't in the end.
Yeah, I think they'd made it a bit more interesting by having them be very influenced by the sort of impact of losing their daughter. I just thought that was a bit. I mean, that was more personal, more specific, and then it ended up being used for a really disturbing ending. So I like that choice. And hey, Devante, mate, you're just getting in at the end of the stream. Bless you. We've literally just given scores and wrapped up. Yeah, rewatch and enjoy the whole thing from the start. But hey, I'm glad you joined us. All right, well, I think we've covered it. We've given scores, and I was unexpectedly impressed by this. I know it's clearly been divisive on the panel, but man, I enjoyed this one. I enjoyed it, and also good seeing Julie Christie from Don't Look Now. I wasn't sure if it was her or not. Oh, so good. All right, so things coming up. I've got my final video on Midnight Mass coming out. Ooh. I kind of lost the thread on that because I had to re-record it because it came out kind of weird and low energy and my voice was dying. So I've re-recorded it. I've edited it. It might be out this weekend. I'll give it a go. And then I'm working on the promised videos on Clive Barker's sort of sexualized horror and homoerotic horror. And our next film that I think I've already mentioned, it is going to be Alien from 1979.
Oh, yes.
Wow. What a terrible film.
Exactly. And I might assign some additional reviews because I've seen some cool analyses, and I think we might want to talk about what other people have seen it. So Rob Agar, basically. I'm a bit obsessed with Rob Agar's channel at the moment.
I think it's just Agar, isn't it? It's not Agar. I think it's just Agar.
Yeah, I'm making it too posh. Yeah, Rob Agar. So darn it, I can't help it. Rob Agar and Collective Learning. There's some great stuff in there.
What does he say? It's about the fear of sexuality, or is it the male fear of female?
Well,
target? I don't know.
He had one on corporatism. He had something on some brilliant foreshadowing in it. He's got a lot on it, so I want to watch a lot more of his analysis on it. I've just got the cat come in, so we've got some lovely cat screens. So you know what we are watching next week?
Alien.
Now,
right?
Mitch. Yes, Alien, 1979. I mean,
if I can make it.
This is the one you wanted us to do, Harry, and this is what kicked it off, right?
Yes,
I already love Alien, by the way, so we won't be divided in any way.
Oh, fantastic. Fantastic.
You sure about that?
Have you seen Haryan? You have seen
Yeah,
it,
I've seen Alien, yeah.
I much prefer Alien to Aliens, by the way.
I can see that being something like
I do like Aliens.
You move into. I mean, I love them both, but I can see eventually Alien becoming the favorite over time.
I think.
Oh gosh, Super Nanny is mad. we should wrap up. Mitch, have you got anything to shill, sir?
Just my YouTube channel. New video this week. Whenever I edit it, yeah.
I just realised. Yeah, Devante. Sorry, that meme might not make a lot of sense. It makes sense in the context of the whole stream, but I'll take that off as that's probably a bit confusing for people. But I'm really happy with that meme.
I would be. Oh dear.
There we go. That's back to something a bit more normal. Yeah. And Haryan, I saw you got a video out today. I watched that.
Yes. I always do this. I always forget what I made on. Oh yeah, diversity is an evil scam. Diversity is an evil scam. Some woman of a non-white persuasion was a terrible employer for some London company, got fired and then played the race card and seems to have actually won a case with it. So I go through why that is a silly thing, along with a few other things.
Wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. So yeah, fun times we're in, I have to say. Yeah, so go watch. is my command.
Devontae, yes, that is my avatar. I usually have the girl from The Omen, because that basically is what I look like.
You really do. It's so weird.
Yeah, I mean, you've seen me in person. You can
I have.
confirm.
Oh yeah.
Good times. Good
Fun.
times. We're all survivors of the No Moss event.
Just
Somehow
about.
we made it out.
It could have been worse.
Yeah. All right. Good stuff, folks. Well, that has been us. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks to everyone watching live. Thank you to everyone in chat keeping it nice and lively. And I hope you've enjoyed it if you've watched it on the rewatch. And I'll reiterate thanks to my guests, especially Mitch. Thank you so much for stepping in. You're welcome.
I'll step in as long as I can actually make it.
Brilliant. You're very welcome. You're very welcome. All right. And yeah, I will sign off there. Thanks, y'all.
Later, drillers.
Hashtag rock gang. That's my one.
Hashtag robo chair thought gang.
Yes.
Nice. Thanks, y'all. Cheers.
Worms.